Just remember when you come to the show. What's up? Alright, alright, it's already know. Anybody ever winner?
Welcome back, everyone. This is From the Heights podcast. I am your host, Drake Williams, and our today's special guest stopping by for a conversation. He's a former U.S. Marine, a Fresno Pacific and University of South Dakota alumni. He's an attorney, a loving husband, and most importantly, he's a devoted father. From growing up in the city of Fresno to building a life here in Sioux City, his journey has been built around service and leadership, and he's ready to make some big changes here soon. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ben Mulford.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool experience. Thank you for stopping by, honestly.
Honestly, thank you guys for having me. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah, when I got the message, I was like, is this real? Because like I've always done the one that does reaching out to the people and kind of doing the marketing, kind of getting rolling with it. And, you know, a lot of people, I was telling my barber today, I was like, a lot of people I interview on my podcast is I know them personally.
Okay.
And so I was like, when I got this lady that reached out to me, and I was like, okay, this is a lot. This is really different now.
Yeah.
And she kind of reached out to me, and she was just I read her message. I read it a few times, and I was like, is this real? And I sent it to my mom. I sent it to my dad, and I was like, should I do this? And they're like, you're stupid if you don't do this.
Well, I appreciate, that you thought that, or that they thought so much of me that this was such a great idea without, thinking twice about, what I would be like on a podcast.
Yeah.
They just assumed like, this guy's going to be great on a podcast. It's a totally good idea.
Yeah. I'm telling you, when I got the message from Maddie, correct?
Maddie,
Yeah. Shout out to Maddie.
Yes. Thank you, Maddie.
And when I'm telling you, I read that message. I woke up and I think she sent it on a Tuesday on my day off from work. And I woke up and I was like looking at it. I was like, is this real? Until I kept questioning myself about it. I was like, because obviously when you start a new business page, you get the bunch of scammer messages flowing through, and you're just kind of like, okay, which one's real, which one's fake? And so when I kept reading it, and then I saw she's friends with the local bar owners, Cody, the wardens,
and I think you guys interviewed him as well.
Yeah, him and the wife. That was probably one of our favorite episodes back then when we first started. I was really nervous during those moments. I was like shaking, trying to do introductions. But I'm telling you, just having an experience sitting next to you, it's going to be a really cool feeling.
Yeah, this is awesome already. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. So what do you kind of think of the experience?
So I've never done a podcast or anything like this. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Especially compared to, like I said, we talked a little bit about this. I have a microphone I bought from a pawn shop, and we just set it in the middle of the table, and me and my wife, we do a puzzle, and then we're talking to my daughter. Basically, we're going to give her these podcasts as she gets older.
Okay.
So she can, because like who I am at 40, how old am I? 41. Who I am at 41 is going to be
That's
different.
the new 21. That's the new 21. I tell my dad that all the time. Sorry.
No, that's, but at 41, I mean, I'm going to be different, when she's older. And so I want to tell her the things that I was thinking about when she was born. And then shoot, 21-year-old me, 41-year-old me, 61-year-old me. Let's see, compare and contrast kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of want to dig into the nitty gritty. Okay. What made you want to decide to run for Woodbury County attorney?
There's been a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm a public defender, and I see a lot of the things, the policies, the decisions, and how they affect my clients.
Yes, sir.
And it just the number of things that I see that I'm like, hey, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that you see most often is how it's set up that if you don't have money, you're going to plead guilty.
Yeah.
Like it's just set up that way. If you go into jail, you're going to have a bond that's going to be, if you don't have 100, 200, 300 bucks lying around, you're not going to be able to bond out. In order to go to trial, you have a right to be tried within 90 days. What can happen during those 90 days when you're not home? Lose your kids, lose your house, lose your benefits.
Yeah, the jobs.
Everything. Jobs.
Whole 9 yards.
Yeah. I mean, so it's set up for you to, if you don't have the money, you're going to plead guilty.
Yes, sir.
And man, it kills you because especially when on those cases where you're like, hey, you shouldn't plead to this. And they're like, yeah, I need this more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So eventually I got fed up with it. It only comes around every 4 years. In 2022, 2023, when James was running against PJ, I was interested. I was watching that. 2020, 2026 comes around and no one else is interested in running,
Mm-hmm.
someone has to point out the problems that are out there. And so, yeah, so I decided to do so.
Absolutely. You kind of a little nervous for that? You were kind of stepping into a different role?
Oh my gosh, yes. That's
Yeah.
holy cow. Because I'm a private person, right? Like I deleted my Facebook in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. Okay. I haven't been on social media for X number of years. And it was great because I had this anonymity. You know, even though I'm in Sioux City, which Sioux City is a much smaller town than where I'm from. I'm from Fresno, which is roughly 1 million people in the area. You know, I was in Des Moines when I deleted my Facebook, and then you come to Sioux City, it's so small, and I'm just this person. You know, I can just walk into some place, and to know that I have to stand up, I have to talk at these meetings. I'm trying to get this microphone.
Just bring it a little bit closer to you.
I think this is it.
Yeah, it should be
Okay.
good. We're good?
I think I'm okay. But yeah, it's you know, it's scary sticking your head out like that.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in Iraq, I was a Mark 19 gunner. I'm 6'3", and standing out of the top of the Humvee, I'm an easy shot if we're
Absolutely.
stopped. So I'm doing it again. I'm sticking my head out again.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, is it worth it? Yeah. Every
Absolutely.
time.
My brother's a Marine.
Oh, where at?
Well, he's a former Marine.
Okay.
He's done. He lives in Philly now.
Okay.
But I sent him the link that Maddie sent me,
Mhm.
and he was reading it. He wanted me to call you a boot. He said you would get a laugh out of that. He's like, I was like, what does that mean? He's like, when you say it, he'll understand it. You won't understand it. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
That's, I mean, I guess it depends on how he's using it. You know,
Yeah.
because I only did one tour, how many did he do?
I think just one, too.
Just one? Okay. Then it's just something you just call somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, just to be.
I was Googling. I was like, is this a real thing?
Oh yeah. We call each other names all the time. I mean, shoot,
Yeah.
that's the worst one I think for Marines to Air Force. I don't know if you've heard this one, calling them the Chair Force.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that one, right? I mean, it's mean, but it's also, you know, it's kind of expected. We're going to be mean to each other, and then, you know, at the same time, if I need something, yeah, he's got my back. Vice versa.
Absolutely. What's one problem in the justice system motivated you the most to step up?
Like I said, it's how it's set up to make poor people plead.
Yeah.
They charge way more crimes than they could ever go to trial.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like, I think, I mean, in Woodbury County, I couldn't even give you a good number, but I mean, I currently have a running caseload of about 100, 130 clients.
Okay.
And if all of those clients went to trial, there are 2 criminal trial days a month, roughly.
Yes, sir.
So I would be able to get through 26 of them in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's nowhere near as many as, you know, and don't forget this, you know, the number would be backfilled. People would be coming in behind. It's set up to, you know, to have everybody plead. And the laws are written to have everybody plead. I mean, you know, if you look at the OWI statute, it's 321J it's just 321J is the section.
Mm-hmm.
They have written down everything. I mean, everything from you cannot use the standard of the error rate for a data master. You cannot use that when getting a deferred judgment. You know, the fines, using implied consent. I mean, there's just so many things. It has been written to close every loophole you can think of so that your options are go to trial or plead.
Mm-hmm.
And going to trial takes 90 days, costs how much money, how much time, you know, how much work are you going to miss? I mean, I don't know how many days of work do you think you could miss without, you know, just out of the blue, you have to have 3 days off in 3 months. Yeah. And you have to, otherwise you go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if you win. If you lose, I mean, how much time are you looking at in jail? Yeah. And it's just, it kills me. It kills me to see these people hurting. And so, because that's the other thing is I actually talk to criminal defendants. Not everybody does. You know, the police get there, they're in a bad spot. Mm-hmm. And, you know, depending on the defendant, they can be surly is a good word for it. They go to jail. The jail is just trying to keep them alive, get them to their next, you know, whatever they've got going on. Yep. The court is just trying to get them through. Hey, let's get this done. If we're going to trial, let's go to trial. If we're not, you know, go forward. Prosecutor, honestly, I don't even know if prosecutors even know what they look like half the time, and maybe even a quarter of the time,
Yeah.
because you don't see their pictures in this file. So yeah, I mean, it's there's such a it's treating people like cattle so much, and it just really it sucks to watch.
Yeah.
So,
I get what you mean. It's with everything got what you're talking about now. What's kind of like been like your motivator to kind of like, okay, I need to do this.
um, you know, so we do need to. I should probably point out I need to have a rule with you, which is anytime I say something about this one client, we gotta cut that out.
Mhm.
Only because I made it a rule myself that I cannot talk about individual clients,
For sure.
because somebody recognizes them, somebody recognizes something I say. This has never happened, but let's say somebody tries to hold up a liquor store with a blow dryer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has never happened. But if I said that, you'd be able to Google and find out exactly who that person is. Look, you can get all kinds of information
Yeah.
online. So I cannot talk about individual clients. That said, individual clients really helped my decision. Two in particular that I saw what happened to them and I just couldn't stand it. So
Yeah.
I decided to run. I decided I was going to really go in that direction about 2-3 years ago. And then, earlier this year, I had a decision made for me when the way things worked out. And so here we are.
Absolutely. One thing, I think it's a huge thing also for men. One thing is that you're talking about is mental health. One of the focuses is mental health in the justice system. Why is that so important to you?
Well, for one, I have mental health issues. I've had
Yes, sir.
severe depression since I was 16. You don't talk about it though. You don't, oh yeah, it could be in a wuss, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And
The life of my grandpa.
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, hush up wuss. And I'm using,
That's literally
and I'm trying
the easy
not to-
term.
I'm trying to use, happy words, not my Marine words. But, and so, so I'm 25 years old and my depression is just out of control. And I had no idea, like, what? That's depression? I thought everybody just feels that way,
Yeah.
16, I realized, oh, I don't mind if I get hit by a bus today. Like, that's not normal.
Yeah, that's
But-
not a normal thought.
But also, if you don't talk to anybody about it, you don't find this out. Okay.
Mhm.
So knowing what it's like, knowing those mental health issues, and mine probably low level by comparison to some of my people.
Absolutely.
That's for me is huge. That's there are mental health issues. There is a mental health crisis. The setup of the system for mental health in Iowa is abysmal, is a nice word for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much. So when you've got these clients who are going through these mental health issues and nobody's really looking into it and nobody's really saying, hey, maybe there's more to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because that's the thing, is that's why they're doing this. In my in this video we'll talk about eventually, you use drugs to feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody really talks about, well, why do you need to feel better? What happened? And it's the it's the mental health, it's the trauma, it's the PTSD, it's the
Absolutely.
the depression. Yeah. So that's big for me. That's my big thing is.
I do
mental
like
health
that
is-
a lot. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And, but yeah, depression is huge. And if we're not talking about it, if nobody's actually,
How can we fix it?
well, yeah, exactly. And also just people admitting that they have it. I mean, I had to, for lack of a better term, come out to my dad when I was 28, 30 years old. I was like, yeah, Dad, I've had really bad depression. And you could see it on his face. He was just like, oh man. And then 10 years down the road, I'm like, maybe you did too. Maybe maybe it's hereditary. Maybe our family has it, in a few different places. But we're not talking about it.
Yep.
And so, so mental health, both being, putting it out there, putting it up front, but also recognizing that the cause is the mental health. The symptom, what it does is turns into crimes, turns into violence.
The random thoughts they start. Trust me, it just,
Yeah.
I think every man has gone through, or just even females too, have gone through mental health crisis, and
Mhm.
they're just too scared to talk about it. And you know, it's sad to see it because when you do love someone on top of it and you see what's going on through their brain, you see, and so it's like,
Mhm.
you know, I want to be there for you, but I need you to
Yeah.
let me in so I can also help you.
Well, but also like, are you even the best person to talk to them about it? Because,
Yeah.
you know, you can't say that you know what they're doing or what they're going through. And I can't do that for most of my clients. You know, I mean, some of my clients, their backgrounds, I mean, just would make you cry.
Yeah.
And what, you know, well, here, I'll get you out of jail. That's about all I can do, you know? And so that's why I want to hit the source of these problems, the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the sources. There's actually a few, but one of the sources is hitting this mental health, making sure we take care of that, and then going forward with, okay, now what was the crime? You know, was it possession of marijuana? Oh, you know, you're smoking weed because you're sad all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, or you know, why are you doing meth? You're doing meth because of the things that happened to you when you were 12 years old. Oh, okay, you know, and so
Mm-hmm.
let's take care of those mental health things, and then maybe they don't want to do meth as much. Maybe there's not as much marijuana out there. And, you know, and granted, marijuana, your choice, you know, your beliefs on it one way or the other, at the very least doing it legally. Um, so that, hey, now we've got fewer crimes. Now we've got fewer times where police are being called. We've got fewer times where police are being put in dangerous situations. We've got fewer times the public is being put in dangerous situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just makes a safer community.
Absolutely. If elected, what would be the first change you would try to get done?
So there's, I think one of your next questions is about things that people don't realize is part of the county attorney's world.
Yes, sir.
And so it's going to kind of go into both of those. The county attorney is one of, I read a book one time where this guy talked about how there's three people who are important in a criminal case, basically can turn the entire thing off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's the officer who decides whether or not to charge you.
Yep.
There's the county attorney who decides whether or not to charge you. And then there's the judge who decides whether or not to go forward with a case. So those three are huge, are so important. And, you know, the county attorney or the assistant county attorney is number 2 in that list. And so they have a lot of sway about what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different policies that the Woodbury County Attorney's Office currently has in place, that their standards, you know, their standard offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are good, some of them are not. I'm not going to go too deep into all of them because one, they don't actually tell us what they are. We just kind of learn them through seeing the same offer over and over again. You know, possession of meth, you're going to do this many days in jail.
Yeah.
Fine as this, whatever. But one of the first ones I want to do is I want to essentially start working toward, which it's not going to happen immediately, but triple the size of mental health court. We have a mental health court.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways it works is the county attorney's office is actually saying, hey, yeah, let's do this. You know, if you have mental health issues, we will get you the help and then we'll deal with the case later on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we can triple the size of it, okay, between adding more people, right? I mean, taking some risks. I understand that, you know, risks are dangerous, can be dangerous. But, you know, if the person has a violent history or something like that, okay, I would say that person needs the mental health help the most.
Absolutely.
And especially if the rest of the criteria are met, you know, this person like already did 2 weeks in jail because they couldn't bond themselves out. Well, if your offer was going to be 2 weeks anyway, okay, let's get them into mental health court then. They've already served the amount of time.
Yeah.
Let's try and get them through this program. And so that's my goal. My goal is to triple the size, but it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have it's through Sunline Mental Health and funding for them. There's a big shakeup about like areas that they're allowed to help recently. So, and also you can commit a crime in Sioux City and Woodbury County and not be from here. So if you're from South Sioux, you can commit the crime in Woodbury County, but then you're not eligible for Project Compass because you're not a resident of Woodbury County. So, you know, things like that I want to work on. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take convincing some people, the budgeting, honestly, getting people's time. because it takes, we usually spend a few hours each, one Thursday a month going over these cases.
Yep.
We need to have a judge ready to be able to do that. We need to have mental health workers able to put in the legwork before then. And that's the goal. The goal is to basically make it so our capacity is 3 times the size, so we can get 3 times as many people through that program and potentially keep them from coming back.
Absolutely. And, with everything that you just said, that could also change so much people's lives, and also in a snap of a finger.
It's not a snap of
Well,
a
it's a snap of a
finger.
finger, but the longevity of the whole thing. But it's like,
Oh, yeah.
from the start of like where they were to where they could be, could save so much more lives,
That's I have had, I think I probably have the most number of clients in mental health court.
Okay.
If I even get a whiff of mental health issue, I'll throw them in there. The way I ask the question is, like sometimes I'll ask them, well, have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health issue? No. And later on, I'll be like, okay, you said you hadn't been diagnosed with any mental health issues. Is it because you haven't been diagnosed or because you don't have any?
Okay.
And you'll see them be like, oh, and, and maybe get them down that road of, hey, you're in this position, something brought you here. Maybe we can do something. And that's what I want to do. That's one of the first things. There's a few other goals, but yeah, I think that's going to be the number one thing that I'm working on from day one.
Yeah. I'd say even with doing that, you could be saving someone's son, someone's dad, someone's daughter,
Yeah, and
So I think that's like, if once people start seeing that more and start obviously getting more out there, they might be on more board.
yeah. Oh yeah. And there's things that are being left on the table. There are ways to impact someone's behavior that aren't necessarily put them in jail, fine them, give them probation, and that's so many, probably 95% of our, or prison, 95% of sentences are one of those 5 things. They include something of that. Why not have, incorporate something like, some kind of a class for the family, especially if there's a domestic violence involved. Not saying it's something I'm going to do immediately. I've actually been speaking. I had what I thought was a brilliant idea. Spoke with a woman at Safe Place about it. She was like, no, that's not a good idea. Oh, shoot. Okay. Because I have these ideas, but I'm not the expert. What I want to do is I want to talk to these experts, and then we can go forward with that. We can use this information and be like, hey,
build a team together, and then
or not even a team, just, hey, let's try this program, and then let's talk to the right people, and the right people say yes or no, and go from there. But try something different, because if we're treating people like cattle, we're just trying to get them through the system. Where at some days it almost feels like you get a ticket. Oh, what number am I? Oh, I'm number 27. Like
yeah,
that's sometimes what it feels like going to court. That's what, if you get rid of that, and instead, your punishment is shoveling out horse stalls, or shoveling just crap for hours on end. Maybe that'll be a better thing than any amount of jail.
Yeah.
Picking up litter on the side of the road, walking up and down Pierce Street with an orange vest on, that actually might work better for you than, probation. And so if we try these different things, maybe they don't work every time. But what if they work perfectly and we just haven't tried it? And that's my thing, is I haven't seen the willing to step outside the box, the willing to think outside the box out of.
Why are people worried about change? Why aren't they why won't they go out there to try to make the change?
Yeah.
Or just try it.
Well, so for one, when you're talking about sentencing, when you're talking about disposition is what the fancy legal term, there's a certain amount of ownership to it, right?
Yes,
this is your case. This is how you felt it should be punished. And because of you, it was punished in this way. And, I'm a part of that. The prosecutor's a part of that. The judge is a part of that. Well, there's also a certain amount of future, you're looking at the future. And if you see this, if you see that this person ends up doing this, and then you go backward and you see, oh, actually this, you could have stopped it here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a good idea, maybe not. But, so that's what they're doing. They're kind of being, I guess they're preparing for this potential outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And they're afraid to make the move that might look bad because they didn't do the standard, they didn't do the harsh today, and so tomorrow this person is worse or did something different or did something horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately that has happened in the past somewhat. I mean, shoot, what was it? Was it Ted Bundy, the guy from Wisconsin? I mean, he was pulled over by Wisconsin state troopers like multiple times, and just nobody's talking to each other about how this is the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I understand it. Doesn't mean you need to stop. It just means you need to keep, honestly, you need to look better. Ted Bundy is a perfect example. These people missed it and he did these horrible things. What if somebody had done a double take on him? Looked at him twice, looked at him 3 times, really dug down deep into him instead of, that's stamp him, move him along. And that's not Woodbury County. That's a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that treating these cases as individuals, I think is the right way. I think is the right direction.
Absolutely. I like that. What makes you different from other candidates in the race? James Loomis, correct?
Yeah.
I think he's running again.
Yes.
If I looked, was my information is correct?
Yeah.
But I think that's just you guys.
Yeah.
then, correct.
It's only the 2 of us.
Yes, sir.
That's James has been doing this when he was running in 2022. One of the things he talked about a lot was his experience. He had been, I think, a felony prosecutor for 17 years at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're looking at, another 4 years. He's been doing it 21 years. I honestly think that cuts both ways. He has the experience. He's been doing it for 20 years. What has he done with that experience? What has he done that's different? What has he tried that didn't work? I don't think anyone's ever talked about it. I've never heard it talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that he's done anything different than, besides being harsher, being stricter. I know of a few policies, a few changes that I would say made the office a little more strict between 2022 and 2023 and today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, so he has the experience doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
He doesn't want to take that right or
not even that. Yeah. He doesn't see that there's another option, because why
more
would
potential out there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's more potential. I mean, you have to change, doing the same thing over and over again. What was it? I think somebody said, Einstein said it, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't live a life like that. You're going to pretty much keep repeating the same process. It's like,
Mhm.
it's like going to the gym. Or, I'm going to go to the gym, and you don't go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym the next day until you finally get like, you know what? I'm going to get up and actually go to the gym.
Mhm.
And so you finally make that change. Like, okay, I'm going to make a change for myself.
Mhm.
So it's kind of similar to that.
Yeah, and also, if you're not happy, if because James has been doing the same thing for 22 years,
Mm-hmm.
what has his impact on crime actually been? I mean, I want to know mine. I want to know what my recidivism rate is. I want to know how many of my clients have gone back to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that number is nowhere near where I want it to be, but I want to know that number. I just, obviously, with all of my just buckets of spare time, I can't really do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a position where I have I have the ability to make policy decisions, hire staff who potentially would be able to look into these things so that, okay, this is the recidivism rate if we charge this way versus that way.
Mm-hmm.
If we do probation versus drug court,
Mm-hmm.
or actually probation and drug court are the same. You do drug court on probation, but anyway, if you do mental health court versus if you just give them the lowest possible sentence.
Yeah.
What are the outcomes of that, and take that information and say, okay, what is making Woodbury County safer? That's that's what I don't think James is doing. I don't think he's looking at the outcomes and saying, okay, if I add, 1 + 1 = 2, what about 3 + 2? Am I getting, what am I getting out of that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just not seeing any kind of direction with that. So yeah, that's what makes me different is I kind of want to use the information we already have out there. I want to go in a direction that maybe I'm not going to be the fire and brimstone, put everyone in jail. Who's that one guy out of, he was a first sergeant. He's retired. He's a legislator out of Denison. And he, I think, was the start of the 3 strikes bill. I don't know if you heard about this.
No, sir.
They're trying to start a 3 strikes bill in Iowa. So if you accrue a certain amount of points, you go to prison for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what some of those crimes can be. Like if it's, let's say, blanket aggravated misdemeanors, driving while license barred is an aggravated misdemeanor. You can get that from losing your license and then continuing to drive.
Yeah.
So you didn't get into an accident. You didn't hurt anyone. You're just trying to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like you're causing I get it's a crime, but
exactly. And I'm not saying it's the reason you lost your license is probably a thing,
mm-hmm.
but that's, an aggravated misdemeanor. That's the same level as, a theft. It's called habitual theft. If you steal a piece of gum, right? First day you steal a piece of gum, you get in trouble. It's a simple misdemeanor. Second time you steal a piece of gum, simple misdemeanor. Third time, it's an aggravated misdemeanor. Aggravated misdemeanors are punishable by up to 2 years in prison. So you've stolen 3 pieces of gum, and yet you're looking at 2 years in prison as a potential. I don't know. I haven't read this bill. I haven't read this legislation that they're talking about. But if there's any chance where you can go to prison for 20 years, you have to make sure that you are very specific about what can cause it. And honestly, I haven't heard anything about his law enforcement background, the guy who started it. I don't know what kind of input other people are having.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have that input from, the public defender's office, the attorney general's office, Department of Corrections. I think I did read in one of the articles that they needed another 400, I could be wrong about the numbers, but it was hundreds of millions of dollars to build the jail spaces, the prisons that we would need to fill. If we had this influx of people, we would need hundreds of millions of dollars just to handle all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to get let go sooner. Well, that's why they're trying to put this bill out in the first place, is because they're mad that people are getting out of jail or prison too soon. Okay, well, now you're trying to make it so they stay in jail longer, but there's not really, it's a never-ending cycle.
Mm-hmm. I get what you mean.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at sticking to a thing, like you're giving me a question, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go over here.
You're good. I just think, I'm not, my mom always told me, it's like, grandpa handles politics, you just go be a kid. And so obviously we've talked about like Charlie Kirk and stuff like that on this show, and nothing too really deep into politics. My mom, she has pretty much funded this whole project.
Okay.
So this is pretty much
thank you, Drake's mom.
Yeah, thank you, Mama. And I went to her one day and I was like, I have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if you'll fund it. And then she was like, gave her my plan from A to B, and then now we're here.
Oh, awesome.
But one thing I want to get into now is getting to know Ben outside of being attorney Ben, legal Ben, just trying to attorney and just kind of get to know who.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy
who's running for this thing? Because I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still a human being.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
For the people who may know, who may not know you yet, who is Ben in your own words? Well, for you answer the question, do you want to touch on base before that video you want to talk about?
I mean, when do you want to talk about it?
Whenever you want to. I'm open to it. I'm saying we got the dime.
I was gonna say we can do that at the end. I think that
I got you.
Pretty good because it would be we'll talk about that at the end.
Yes, sir.
If you're okay with it.
That's fine.
So who has been? A couple years ago, did you ever watch The Good Place?
If I saw it, probably.
Okay, it was what's her name? She was one of the Frozen girls, like one of the sisters. I can't remember her name now. and there was Ted Danson, and it was a great show,
Mm-hmm.
and it got me started down a philosophy rabbit hole.
Okay.
So asking who you are, it's kind of, your answer is kind of interesting, because if I say I'm a public defender, I define myself via my job.
Mm-hmm.
If I am a father, I define myself via my relationship to other people.
Mm-hmm.
If I, it's just a really interesting question, especially when you think about it from, well, I could say it this way, I could say it that way. And I'm not stalling. I got into a philosophy geek mode for a while there. And so I figured I would just, hey, I'm on a podcast, I'll talk about that.
I like it, honestly.
Yeah.
I started this show. I wanted people to come on there. It's like, obviously everyone has a story. So like, let's hear the story.
Yeah. So I got into this philosophy and talking about who you are. It's really interesting how you define that. Well, I think I want to be defined about what I've done. And so a lot of the times I try to do the hard thing. You go into the Marines, not because, they don't talk about the Marines like, oh yeah, this is the cakewalk branch,
Yeah.
You go because it's hard. And I did it, and it was awesome. And, I can tell you some of the stories from it, and I'll never tell you some of the other ones, but, but I was a Marine. That's something I've done. I climbed Half Dome. I climbed Mount Fuji, not climb, but like,
Hiked it.
Yeah. Hiked both of them. I went to law school. I'm now a father and a husband. All of these things are things that I've done that I think really help define me. I like doing the hard thing. Being a criminal defense attorney, that is hard. Like, I don't think anyone in the criminal justice system will say that it's the easy job. It's actually, I don't know. I think police and us will probably say, oh, our job's harder. No, your job, my job's harder. No, my job. But at the end of the day, yeah, I do the hard thing because it needs to be done. The JFK quote, we do these things not because they're easy, but because they're hard. I think he's missing the part there, and it also needs to be done. Somebody needs to do it.
Yeah, I know. I dated a social worker before, and I've seen some of the things that happen, and you kind of see, like, you kind of give grace to a lot of, like, what you see and what they've seen. And I remember just seeing some of the things that she would talk about, and like, obviously you wouldn't get deep into it because of HIPAA, but just like what she could talk about was just like,
oh yeah,
how like the weight bearing of everything. I was just like, I feel so bad, because it's like, I'm just going. Back then I was working at Verizon, so it's like, I'm just going to go sell a phone.
Yeah,
and you're gonna go work 8-9 hours right now, and you're gonna go experience so much different emotions every single different house or every person you're gonna meet. You don't ever know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah,
and that's probably what your type of job is. Like, you don't know who you're gonna get, what that the next folder is gonna get until you read it. You're like, okay, now you got to get rolling.
Oh yeah, my wife is actually a social worker, and
cool.
I didn't realize that there's actually a vetting process. Like, if you ever meet another social worker and you're married to one, like, that's instant, like, money. It's instant kudos. They're like, oh, so you're worth our time. Like, literally, it is an invitation in the door that you didn't realize you didn't have until you were like with this social worker. Anyway, but these hard things. I mean, some of the things you learn, especially, the research you have to do. I remember in law school, this has got nothing to do with a client of mine. There was this case where this guy had been shot in the head and left in the desert outside of like Las Vegas or something. And because he survived the bullet, and later, I think he died of dehydration, like within less than 24 hours before he was found. And it's just like, oh my gosh. And that's something I learned in law school, but those kind of cases, that kind of trauma, tragedy is here. You don't hear about it. It's behind closed doors. It's in police reports and all that. And then eventually you'll get 5% of the story. And yeah, and it's just heartbreaking. And you just gotta, I want to stop that.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of made me wake up a lot is I deliver out in Bancroft, and there's a domestic abuse paper in the bathroom in the gas station. And there's like numbers being pulled. And I remember
Mhm.
walking in and seeing it for the first time. And like, obviously, I'm an adult now and I'm a father as well. And I have 2 little girls. And I remember just seeing like the numbers being pulled. And it just kind of made me realize a lot of things of like,
Mhm.
this stuff's real.
Well,
Like,
and you're
and it's
sharing
scary.
this. Yeah, and you're sharing the same space as someone who, took one of those numbers.
hmm
So, like, literally, if you had been here at the right time, you would have met them. You could have gotten to know them.
Yeah.
Would they have told you? And yeah, it's just the stuff that's you're not hearing about. Yeah,
hmm
you're totally right.
And that's like, and I've worked at FedEx for the last 3 years. And so I've seen that and they reprint them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I go in that same, I've had the same route for the last 2.5 years. So I've
Mhm.
seen it consistently. And it's like, okay, there has to be some type of change. Like, and I've talked to my cousin, he's on the truck next to me and we talk daily throughout our route.
Okay.
And he used to do the route with me on my days off. And we used to just talk about it. It's like,
Mhm.
dude, like, how is this like not like getting talked about? Like, how is this not like, and I get it's a small little town, but it's like, we've delivered this same route for the last 2.5 years. We've seen the same paper
Mhm.
for the last, like, we've seen the numbers, like, they'd be a roll.
Mhm.
I'm off Tuesday. Jesse would go in, they'd see a number being pulled, go in Wednesday, see another number, I'd come in Thursday, and it just repeat the process. It's just like, and we're going through the feelings and the emotion because like obviously we have girlfriends and you're married, and it's just like, what makes I don't get like the whole like outcome of like why would someone go do that?
Like commit the crime or
Oh no, like to commit like domestic abuse.
Okay. Um, honestly, that is the way they were taught.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they saw growing up. They didn't know it was wrong. And now that they're an adult, one of the things you didn't really realize, and again, philosophy geek, most of your training to become a parent is the way you were raised.
Yeah, that.
So the way the way your relationship ends up going, a lot of it is going to be what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you saw horrific things, you don't see it's not out of the ordinary. It's not weird. It's not wrong, because I love my dad. I love my mom. They, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's one of 1,000, because then there's also victims who, I don't want to say like, I don't want to victim blame in any way, but there's certain victims almost seek out a type, and it sucks,
Mm-hmm.
especially because sometimes the victims are my clients. Sometimes my clients are not the victims, and all you can do is, let's do what we can. Yeah, there's a class in Iowa. It's called the Iowa Domestic Abuse Program. They've made it a lot more accessible recently, which is really great.
Mm-hmm.
But it was holding a lot of people back as far as being able to be done with a domestic violence conviction, because they didn't finish the program, and so they end up having these warrants put out for their arrest. It's a contempt action.
Mm-hmm.
They go to jail for X amount of time. Maybe they got that job. Maybe they're finally starting to move on with things, but they didn't get this class done, and they should. I'm not saying that they shouldn't get the class done, but I'm saying that like the outcomes of it, the way it has worked out is now they've had to reset, even though they were doing well, but now they had to reset because they lost the job, because they lost the apartment. They, the strides they were making with seeing their kids again, they lost those.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it's the domestic violence side of things. I am nowhere near an expert. I'm nowhere near even qualified to talk about it.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because
Thanks. Yeah. You don't think I know what I'm talking about either?
I'm just joking.
No, yeah, you and my wife talked, didn't you?
Probably. But one thing now is you grew up in Fresno. I have family that lives out in Fresno.
Oh, no kidding. Where at?
Right outside of Bakersfield, I believe.
Okay.
Is that right kind of Fresno? It's like I think it's like an hour.
It's like Ottawa to Sioux City.
Yeah, it's like
distance.
Mm-hmm. I remember like we were going there and there was like a little taco truck, and then I was like, that's where it's like, okay, we're just in a little borderline of from there. So you grew up in Fresno, but you had roots tied to Sioux City. What was your childhood like? Because your mom and dad grew up in Sioux City, correct?
Yes, they actually met at the Morningside McDonald's.
Oh,
right?
that's cool.
Like literally, yeah. Like this is I'm that California cousin that was living in California because that's where my parents were. And then, so we moved there when I was 7. I left for the Marines when I was 19. 20, as I hit my microphone, 23, 24, I get out of the Marines. And my parents have moved back, but my sister actually lived there. She was pregnant with my nephew.
Okay.
So I moved back to Fresno, and I
Okay.
was there for 6 years, I think. And then decided to go to law school. So yeah, I'm from Fresno, or at least I grew up in Fresno, but from there kind of falls away after so long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, being in Fresno versus Sioux City, believe it or not, Fresno's actually, we get people from Sioux City there a lot.
Mhm.
Growing up, the church we went to, a couple there, Bob and Gloria Berkheimer, they were from Sioux City. Working at the Bureau of Reclamation, never met this woman before in my life. My supervisor was from Sioux City.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that there is a certain amount of like draw where if you're, if I have to go to California, and so Sioux Cityans end up near the Central Valley,
Mm-hmm.
you have family there too, or in the area at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, the difference or growing up there, it's different.
Yeah. I never knew how big California was because my buddy lives out by Corona,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a gym that's like an hour away,
Mhm.
like California time.
Yeah, under California hour.
Yeah. Like, and GPS is like, your house is only an hour away from it. She's like, dude, do you realize how big California is? And I'm like, not really. Like, I've only been there twice.
Yeah.
Like, and so from a Midwest version, like, I've been out in Florida, South Carolina. That's where my family's from.
Okay.
But from going to Fresno only a couple times and then seeing like, okay, it's like, dude, I was like, it's only an hour away. You can get there in like 45 minutes. She's like, dude, do you realize how bad the traffic is here?
Yeah.
And I was like, it can't be that bad. She's like, no, like if you're not on the road by like, if you have a morning job by like 3 a.m., you're going to be late. And so
I could see that. So I've lived in California, Las Vegas, Sioux City, Vermilion, Virginia,
Mhm.
lived in those places, like got mail there. Honestly, the worst traffic is actually in the DC area.
Oh, really?
I took a buddy of mine to the airport, 45 minutes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
30, 45 minutes. It took me 4 hours to get home.
Oh, wow.
Literally just kicked him to the curb, sent him into the airport. I turned around and it was 4 hours to get back because of how bad that traffic was. California has bad traffic, but it's, the 95 on the East Coast.
Nothing to play with.
I think that's the worst one.
Yeah. I know. So when she used to live here in Sioux City, and she'd be like, Drake, it's not like you can just leave Grandview and go to Morningside in 20 minutes. And so that's just kind of, were you kind of happy to move back to Sioux City?
I was happy to get closer to family.
Yeah.
So like I said, California cousin, I didn't have family nearby. It was me, my mom, my sister, and my dad growing up. That was our family nearby. So cousins were out here. Grandparents were out here. Aunts, uncles were out here. We had a smattering. I had a great uncle in San Diego. I had, I think, a great aunt in Los Banos. But coming to the Midwest, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got family here. I can talk to, I can see my uncle, I can see my aunt, who these people who I hardly ever see, but who love to see me.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. And so, so coming out here was awesome. Like I always like coming back here because that's, I get to see my people and talk to them, and, we all get along, and my parents are, loving catching up with everybody, and we're all having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to do that in California.
So a lot of people for some reason, don't like the Midwest area, but I kind of get it. It's like, there's not comparing like California to Iowa, it's just definitely a lot different type of groove.
Mhm.
But, when you really look at it, it's really a good time to be in.
So when I first moved out of California as an adult, 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved to Vermilion, because I was going to law school.
Yes, sir.
And the first time I realized I had forgot to lock my car at Walmart, and I came back and I was like, oh my car's still here. It didn't go anywhere. It's still here. All my stuff is still here. That's that's what you get in California. You don't get to make that mistake once
Mm-hmm.
or twice. Maybe you get to make it once, but not twice. It's just it honestly, the people in California are not as nice. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. And I'm not going to try to rag on California or anything.
Oh, you're good.
But it's just there is a certain amount of niceness that is not in California, but that is in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I love it for that reason. I love being kind and considerate to people. You see them at the store and you can talk to them.
Yeah.
Just start making jokes or sitting next to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and just talking to them. That's, I had that happen in California, and the lady wanted to tell me about the lizard people.
Oh God.
Yeah, like that's, it happens there,
Yeah.
but it's not as nice,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I like it. I like the vibe here.
Yeah, my brother AJ, when he was a Marine, he was stationed in San Diego. Correct,
Okay.
that was one of the
Mhm.
the bases there.
Yep.
And when he got out, I remember him calling my mom, and he was just like, "I need to get out of here." And my mom was like, "Why? Like,
Yeah.
you love it down there. It's the beaches there, like
Mhm.
the ocean's there. Like, obviously it's nice." Like, he was like, "Everyone's too nice." He's like, I need to go to the East Coast where people are mean."
It's San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. So San Diego is different than Fresno.
Okay.
Yeah. And San Diego, it's different parts of the state.
Mhm.
Different, I honestly think probably 95% of people are priced out of San Diego anymore.
Okay.
So it's not like it's somewhere you or I could go,
Mm-hmm.
move to. Shoot, I think probably a house this size, probably
200,000 maybe.
no, I'd say probably 5.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that's 500,000, depending on where it is. But if it's
that's insane.
yeah,
I never knew that.
oh yeah, it is. I mean,
My brother-in-law told me about like trailers are, you could buy a trailer here for like 30 grand
mhm.
and then move it there, and it'll be worth $300,000 just in the matter of like where you ever put it.
Mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, that's a thing.
That is a thing. It is, and it's. I don't know if it's. I kind of think of I compare things to Beanie Babies, maybe when I shouldn't. The price of Beanie Babies that went through the roof. I don't know. How old are you? Are you old enough to remember Beanie Babies?
I'll be 31 in August.
Okay, so were Beanie Babies? I mean, you probably didn't even. Okay,
No.
there's a picture showing a couple divorcing, and they're on their hands and knees separating out their Beanie Baby pile, which
Jesus.
is like, it's kind of like crypto.
Okay.
Okay, it's this thing and it's worth X amount of money, but is it
Is it-
really worth that much money?
It's like the Labubu stuff that's been going on.
I don't know Labubu. I'm old now. I'm 41. Like, yeah.
That's the new 21. I'm
the
telling
new
you.
21. Yes,
That's
the new 21. But I'm still. I kind of enjoyed the old part of it though.
Yeah, Labubu's like kind of like that. It's like a little stuffed animal and whatever. But you can get one. Like my mom bought like a special edition one for like $100,
Mhm.
and if you resell, it's like worth like $300.
Yeah, that's
And it's
like
just
that.
Like that's insane.
But then 5 years from now, how much do you think it'll be worth?
yeah,
And that's, the Pokemon cards or the what were those, the pop figures? You remember them? They were everywhere. Everybody had them.
kind of
Like,
getting that.
Yeah,
Little,
they were like this big, and they were just like there were probably over 100,000 of them,
mm-hmm.
and they were everywhere, and they were all collectible. And because they were all collectible, none of them were worth much. Like, it was barely worth more than what you paid for it. That's generally for me, like for California, the housing prices. I think is it really worth that much? Probably not. But there's been no downturn,
Mm-hmm.
But I think eventually people are going to be like, why are we spending this much money on land?
Oh, isn't the taxes out there like 13.4% or something like that?
It was something like that. There's a lot more services out there,
Mm-hmm.
but taxes are crazy. And the 15, well, it was $15. I think it's up to $20 an hour minimum wage now.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that also, so then prices for housing went up
Oh
accordingly.
yeah,
and
everything
it's-
probably went crazy up
yeah. And it's just, that's California. Not living there, I'm okay with.
there. What values did your parents instill in you growing up?
It's, so there's the values that they try and teach you, hey, don't lie,
Mhm.
don't steal, things like that. But then there's the things you see, because there's the ones you learn from watching.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know, my parents, my mom and my dad were always kind. You know, my dad would talk to anybody and would, you know, he would always be just kind to them.
Mm-hmm.
May not want to be around them, but still, like he would be as nice as he could to you. And then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's just who he was around everybody. You know, helping out, you know, that's the work needs to get done. It doesn't matter who you are. If the dishes need to be washed and you're a guy, dishes still need to be washed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just that's how it is. So yeah, so there's get the work done, kindness, and I mean, yeah, and just honesty. It was, yeah, I got away from kind of even fibbing too much in my personal life. And I think it started then, but man, it has saved me so many times because people just know he tells the truth all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would he? You know, why wouldn't he tell the truth?
Absolutely.
And just, yeah, worth it.
Oh, trust me, I was definitely a fibber because my brother was, and when your brother's the second fastest in state,
Oh, geez.
and then there's me, it's like the level was not there.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, and we went to West High, and obviously West High has never had the best reputation.
Mhm.
And so when your brother's running a 4.3 and
Yeah, this
he was
crazy.
insane, and like his high jump, his long, dude, it was like I used to throw discs when I used to watch him. I'd be like,
Mhm.
this dude's a freak of nature. Like, why is he built like Superman and I'm built like like the Michelin Man, pretty much. And so, but I think one thing I was like about fibbing was what I was kind of getting at is like, I'm gonna do this, right?
Mhm.
You know, kind of results back to the gym thing, to where I was always like, a few years ago, I in like a really bad toxic relationship, and we ended up breaking up. I finally got enough to be like, okay, this is not good. I need to leave.
Mhm.
And I remember just like seeing myself, and I was like, I need to get my like life back in order. Like I
Mhm.
can just see it, and I can feel it in my body. And I just remember being like, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna do this.
Mhm.
But I remember like all my friends were going, and I used to keep making that fib, like basically the fib excuse, like, oh, like I'll do it the next day, the
Yeah,
next day, the next day,
Mhm.
until you're 3 years past, and you're like, okay, like I'm really past like everything, and I'm not really. I can just kind of feel my body, and like I did end up losing a buddy to COVID,
Oh, I'm sorry
but
to hear that.
he was like really young, but this is where like kind of like the health kind of thing kicked in. It was just like,
Mhm.
okay, like if I don't get my health back in order, something could also potentially happen to me,
Oh, yeah.
especially being a father. And it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
I don't need to just do it for myself. I need to be able to run them
Yeah.
down and catch them just in case anything
Stop
happens.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and my new baby, she's going to be 2 years old in June,
Okay.
and that's where it's like, okay, and now I really need to kind of get
Mhm.
back in, back in the high horse and get back in the rowing. And so I think kind of figuring out the fib,
Mhm.
like, you know what, man, it's like it's time to.
Well, and there's also, you know, the what you tell yourself versus what you tell others.
Yes.
You know, how honest are you being with yourself about where you're at, what you're doing, how you're doing. There was what was it? I think it was called the Johari window, and it's things people know about you that you know about, and then things like, and it's the 4 different windows. Things you know, things you don't know, things people know about you, things people don't know about you. And so there's the things people know about you that you know about you. You know, you're wearing white shoes. I know that about you. You know that about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things you know about that I don't know about. I don't know what color your socks are. You know, that kind of thing. Things I know about you that you don't know about you. You know, you smell like cinnamon. Okay, I'm just making something up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then things you don't know about, and things that nobody knows about you. And so the lie you're telling yourself, you know, maybe you're believing it, maybe, you know that about you, or you don't,
Mm-hmm.
and either other people do or don't know about you. But yeah, I don't know why I kind of went down that.
What advice do you have for someone that needs to kind of get out of that fib? That's kind of helped you.
I have never regretted doing it. I have never
like that.
regretted getting out of, trying. I've never regretted trying. I've always regretted not trying.
But now people nowadays don't want to try.
And
that's a huge thing
oh
nowadays.
gosh, yes, because I mean you're told nonstop like you're not good enough. I mean, the influencers and all that, like they have this wonderful life, you don't, and well, it's because of these things, and so don't worry about trying. When in reality, it's more like what will make you happier tomorrow, and that's all you got to try. It's just what can I do to make myself a little bit happier tomorrow, and then move in that direction. I decided to go to law school. My aunt is a lawyer. She's down in Kansas City, but otherwise, no one else in my family ever went to law school.
Okay.
And so it was just one of those. Well, shoot, okay, I want to do it, so let's do it. Scared the heck out of me. I don't know if I mentioned this. I volunteered to go to Iraq.
Did you?
Yeah, that's I was actually on 2 non-deployable bases. Marine Corps Air Station at Iwakuni was not deployable, and Quantico was not deployable. And so once I got to Quantico, I was like, why am I not doing this? So I volunteered. I ended up going over as a machine gunner. But yeah, it's just, you got to try. And maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe you fail. Las Vegas was a failure. Like I spent 7 months there, had to break my lease, come back, and I'm living on the couch at my mom's house after law school. By the way, this isn't like, this isn't, oh, look at this, look at this guy who should have or look at this guy who's, just out of high school or whatever. No, I should have had my stuff together, and I didn't. And yeah, but if you try, if you're always moving in that right direction or in a direction, it's going to help you no matter what.
You're destined to succeed.
I
if you keep trying.
I was going to say, eventually something will work.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I kind of came to. It's like, because we had this whole equipment, not like everything now, like everything, but we've had like the mics, like the PCs and everything like that for a year.
Okay.
And I think off camera we were talking about me throwing up.
Yeah.
Where I remember my buddy came over and we went downstairs and we were just hanging out downstairs and just kind of just hanging out there. And he was just like, I remember him just kind of looking at me. He was just like, dude,
let's do it.
When are you going to do it? And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, Mom invested all this money into this and it's been down here for a year and you haven't done one episode. He's like, I know she's probably getting mad. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. And he was like, just give it a shot. Like, what's it really going to hurt? And I remember sitting there and I was like, if I do this and I was like, there's no looking back.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and I remember when I did start, it's like, the doubters, people like you thought you were friends, they like put you down about it. And it's like, that's stupid. Like, why would you even try that? But it's just like, well, I don't even know if I don't even try. Yeah. And then now I get to sit across from you.
I get to sit across from you.
So
well done.
That's where it's even cooler. I'm telling you, even just to be having a conversation with you, it's like the things you've been telling me. Like it's like every episode I do, like I rewatch and I listen to see like how I can do better and see how like, okay, like this was such a cool experience. Cause like,
oh yeah, this is awesome.
A lot of people nowadays, like I remember telling all my friends and like telling my girlfriend we celebrated. It's just like, cause a year ago, it's like, I remember people were making fun of me doing it. And it's like, and I was like, now I'm sitting next to potential next new Woodbury County attorney.
That's well,
like
that's open, but also like, but this is again, don't take it away from you though. You did this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah. Always remember that. Cause that's the other thing is no one can ever take away what you have done. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of, when we were talking about my philosophy thing about who I am, no one can take away the things I've done. There's stoicism and all that and what those things can do. But I have done those things. You have done these things. And from now on, that is who you are. I mean, be proud of what it is.
Thank you. I know, trust me, we started covering the West High games and it was kind of cool. Because like obviously like me and my co-host, we weren't the most popular people in high school. Like obviously like his brother was a jock. My brother was a jock. We didn't have a good life in high school. Let's just say that. We were short, acne face. It was bad. But now like we started going to the basketball games and like it was cool to see the student section. It'd be like, yo, you guys are from the Heights podcast.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we got noticed. Like,
yeah.
And then like we kind of took it in for a second to where it's like, okay, like we're actually probably doing something that's a little different than like what these other people are probably doing. Because and then I remember talking to one of my best friends and sending the messages that Maddie sent me. And he was like, dude, you got to think to yourself, like, you're finally doing it. Like everything you talked about and everything that we used to sit downstairs and just have hours of conversations without recording a single thing. He was like, dude, you're finally doing it. He's like, no, I was like, you're about to sit down with literally the Woodbury County attorney. He's like, do you understand like how like insane that is? He's like, no, he's like, not a lot of people get that opportunity and you do. He was like, dude, be proud.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of sat there. I started kind of crying a little bit. And I was just like, because you kind of think to yourself, like, I've been homeless before. Like, like saying like when you're in your 20s, you experience.
Yeah.
You try to like figure out like what life is and you do your soul searching. And, when you kind of realize that it's like, okay, like I'm really going down the wrong path. Like, and you're partying, you're doing all the BS stuff. I mean, it's just not the right things. Yep. And like, you see your friends, like you're graduated and, some go off to the military and some go off to, they're already building and they're married. And it's like, you're kind of sitting there. It's like, what the hell did I do for the last 3 and like almost, we graduated in 14 and this person's and now in law school and this person's this. And so it's like, you kind of start to think to yourself like, man, like, what am I doing to now be 30, now turning 31 in August. And my 1 year anniversary for the pod is in August.
Oh, cool.
August 28th is our 1 year anniversary. So it's like, and we were talking, and he's like, dude, he's like, in a year from now, he's like, we're going to talk about this episode. He's like, in the next year, he's like, we're going to talk about it again. He's like, cause like, dude, no one's doing this, but you get to do it. And he's like, dude, he's like, I'm telling you, man, he's like, this is such a cool experience for you, man. I'm so glad you of all people get to do it.
Yeah. No, and this is awesome. I mean, shoot. And yeah, I'm glad you're doing it, but also, thank you for letting me be part of it.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm telling you, just the word you just said a little bit ago really meant a lot to me. Cause telling you, I've been doubted a lot doing this. And cause you think people are your friends and when you start to like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's like, you said you were going to do this. Then you kind of sit to yourself and you start that little doubt comes back in your voice. Like, well, that I said I was going to do that. And then obviously I just didn't do it.
Yeah. I failed.
And so, and that's the thing. Why do you think people are so worried about admitting failing? Or just like, you think there's just kind of like an ego thing to where it's like, they don't want the people to know?
Well, it's admitting, it's showing weakness.
Okay.
And if, I don't know why it's a bad thing to show weakness, to admit that, hey, I'm not perfect. My fun time in Vegas, I thought, hey, I was going to go out there and do all these things. Didn't work out. Ended up, sleeping on my mom's. It wasn't even a couch, actually. Those fainting couches. Yeah. So it was like, it's one of those.
Futon?
No, a chase lounge, I think is what it's called. Where it's like, it's a half couch.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
those are comfortable though.
If they're long enough, if they're only this long and your
legs are like,
my legs were just hanging in the air or wherever. I had a dog that I was in charge of, and I failed hard in Las Vegas, man. But you know what? Wouldn't take it back for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yes. I mean, and then, so the other thing you were talking about, what all these other people are doing. My cousin passed away. He was, I think he was going to turn 30 or 31. I can't remember exactly. It was while I was in law school, and that man was happy. He was a U of I grad. He was doing woodworking, like he was restoring old furniture. If I remember right, I could be wrong. But he was living in Chicago. All of these things, like he was, he wasn't just absolutely successful, but he was happy. And that is what I have gone for ever since. Like I realized, I could become the best whatever. But man, if I'm not happy, like
I'm miserable, basically.
Well, if I die tomorrow, what was the point of being the best at, or working towards being the best at the thing? Now, granted, if that's your goal and that would make you happy, okay, work toward it, but be happy in the moment as well. He was happy. And so ever since then, like comparing yourself to others, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's, there's
that's
always,
when you start to kill yourself on that one.
Well, and also like something you don't realize, you're actually comparing yourself to three people at once. A lot of times, like this person has this person has that, this person has that. okay, but you're not seeing the downtime this person has. You're not seeing the trauma this person has. You're not seeing the background this person has. And so you can't, you're comparing yourself to these three people that they're each individuals. They're each unique.
Mhm.
You are unique. And so, yeah, you're not going to be able to be all three of them, but you can be you and you can be happy as you.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and I think you're
Thank
heading,
you.
you're
Thank you
heading
for
in that
that.
direction too.
Thank you. That means a lot. Trust me. Like I'm saying, once you get, I was like, I was reading about the mental health until like that, because
Mhm.
once you start figuring out like, what am I doing? Like,
Mhm.
what is my purpose?
Yeah.
And like, I remember one thing, it was my 6th grade teacher, Miss Joffer, and she was just like, one thing about you, Drake, is that you love to talk
Mhm.
and you love to smile. And she's like, that's one thing I've always remembered from that. And it's like, and I try to do sales, and the sales didn't work. And it's like, it worked, but it's just like, when you're not happy, you're like, what am I doing? It's like, I love all my coworkers and I love all my customers. It's like, now it's like, I love my job. I love being a FedEx driver, and, cause I love to go out to meet the customers, and
Yeah.
I have the same customers every day. Like, they know my kids.
Mhm.
Like, and that's the crazy
Yeah.
thing. Like, they know my kids' names, and
Mhm.
they know like they know when I'm upset, and they know like what's wrong. Like, and they'll sit and they'll take time to be like, hey, like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah, that's how's it going. Like,
it's like you kind of think to yourself like, okay, like I'm finally starting out, and I've tried to like apply at different jobs, and I've had some pretty big interviews, but for some reason I feel like God didn't was just like, what, man, it's like you're where I need you, you
Mhm.
need to stay there.
yeah.
And it's like, stay in this direction. When you finally get to where I know I'm going to take you,
Mhm.
just keep riding that path. Because I feel like every time I went to an interview, I feel like I killed the interview. I practiced, I studied, and I got the call back. It's like, oh, you went to the next person. And it's just like, and I remember I asked my girlfriend, it's like, dude, like, what is it?
Mhm.
Like, I'm getting all these opportunities, and I'm getting all these like we want to bring you in. And it's like, then I go to the interview. It's like, is something like wrong with me? And she's like, babe, no, it's just like, it's not. It's just like, I just feel like right now it's like you're finally in the position you've always asked for.
Mhm.
And it's just like, just take that.
Yeah.
She's like, regardless if like, it's like, yeah, you work on the road. It
Mhm.
sucks.
I that's the thing is I think there's a stigma to it. You don't have to put it on there. You don't have to put that stigma on there.
Mhm.
You like it. You
Yeah.
like your job.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's just like, she like said, like the driving. She's like, I get it. Like when you're wake up every single day, you're driving 8 hours on 9. She's like, she's like, I get it. That part with the sucks part. But she's like, you love what you do though. She's like,
Mhm.
you love your customers. You love like when you walk in, you see your boss, like, like you see everything. Like, you have your good routine. You have the good routine with the kids. You have a good routine with the pod.
Mhm.
Like people are starting to see you.
Mhm.
It's just like, just take that. Like, stop trying to go into a different lane and just stay in the lane you've already have been building for the last year.
yeah.
She's like, don't take that left. Just keep going straight.
I mean, yeah, or take the left if that's where,
Mhm.
if you're chasing happiness,
Yeah.
that's the direction to go.
And that's where I was kind of like figuring out. It's just like, okay, like, and that's where my buddy Xavier was saying, he was like, dude, he's like, think about it. He's like, think of where you were 4 years ago.
Mhm.
He's like, dude, I've known you. You've slept in your car before. He's like, think about it. He was like, you're about to interview this person, and you're doing other episodes. He's like, and you've interviewed people that are going to the NFL draft.
Oh, geez, nice.
He was like, think about it. He was like, what is there? He's like, you're finally doing it. And he's like, and this is probably one of the happiest you've probably ever been. He's like, obviously, he's like, yeah, every man has their struggle days.
Nothing is perfect.
Yeah. And he was like, but one thing, he was like, dude, when I see you do it, and I see you have that smile, he's like, regardless of like technology.
Yeah. Oh, technology.
Yeah.
A whole other
And
thing.
and he's like, I've seen like what happens. And he's like, when I've been here hanging out with you, and you're just like ready to pull all your hair. And he's just like, but you smile for a second, you take a breath, and you're just like, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, just keep going with that lane.
Mhm.
So, but one thing, we'll go up to question 10. What was there a specific moment growing up where you knew public service was going to be a part of your life?
I didn't really get that moment when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I got it when it wasn't even, I think it was after I grew up. Like basically as an adult, I was like, what do I enjoy doing? What do I like?
Mm-hmm.
And, and also one of the things I found, like around 2013 or so, which I would be 29 then, helping others actually makes me feel better.
Mhm.
You know, it's a natural way to help my depression. It took me, even though I was diagnosed with severe depression in 2005 ish, took me another like 10 years before I started actually taking my meds for it and like getting
Okay.
that figured out. Because of course, you know, oh, I can figure it out. Oh, you know, caffeine for me was a big thing. I would drink those rock stars, those giant rock
I was
stars.
say I was asking, are you a coffee drinker? Or you like
I was, yeah, I mean, that's probably what's going to get me. It's going to be the caffeine intake from my 20s and 30s. But
you still drinking now?
coffee, and I don't do energy drinks anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the drive from Quantico to Fresno when I was moving back after the Marines. Every fill up, I would have one of those 1 liter rock stars and a
1
5 hour
liter?
energy every stop. And so basically every
Lord.
3 hours I was drinking that much and smoking. Yeah, that was, yeah, that's, that's, we were talking about getting healthy and all that. Like, yeah, you definitely, there's a certain point where you're like, you know, I want to be 80,
Mhm.
you know, and, you know, yelling at kids to get off my lawn. Like, I want to get to that age. You got to, it's not easy. You gotta,
Yeah.
it's hard. You got to work to do that.
Yeah, my grandpa's 94 and he's still kicking.
Oh gosh, that's my grandpa's 80, 88, I think, and he is. I mean, I think it was about 10 years ago. He was 78, and he was helping me re-roof my parents' house.
Yes, sir.
Like he's up there on the roof
Yeah.
with me.
That's literally my
It's just-
grandpa, I
and it's like-
promise you.
It's like
On a
get
ladder,
off-
it's like, dude,
off
get,
the
yeah,
house.
get, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
get, my mom has sent pictures because they live in South Carolina. She's like, this is like, and my mom always compares my grandpa to me. She's like, one thing, and she was like, I always thought Dakota was going to be grandpa,
Mhm.
but you're the way you act, the way you talk, the way you
Mhm.
carry yourself, you're just a taller version of him. And that kills me every single time because I see it now as I get older to where it's like, you know, I'm starting to see it. So,
Yeah.
but he's the same exact way. Like, there's a line needs to be fixed. When I went to his 93rd birthday, I totally forgot how old he was.
Mhm.
Cause it's like, I've known you all my
Yeah.
life. Like, you can't be that old. Even when I had I did the math on my mom's birthday and she's like 64.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, like time is flying. And I remember like where she's lighting the candles. I was like, does that say 93? And she was like, my mom looks back. She was like, yes, Drake. I was like, wow. I'm like, you've been alive 93 years.
Mhm.
And he's just like, yep. He's like, just waiting.
Yep. Keep up.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah. And he can run a mile if he wanted to.
Oh, jeez.
So, and that's what my mom says too. She's like, I'll probably die before he dies. And I was like, probably. I was like, I'm sorry, but the way this man, he just,
Mhm.
I don't
Just a
know.
machine.
Yeah, he's just a machine. I'm pretty sure he was in the Air Force.
Okay.
And then he was a big hot shot at CF.
Okay.
And I don't know if you were here when CF was a thing.
No.
But yeah, he was like chief operating officer. And then once he
Okay.
retired, he was like, see you later. And then, yeah, we now, he won't ever come back home. He's come home once and he stayed for like probably 4 days. And he was like, fly me back. What was life growing up in Fresno compared to what is life now in Sioux City?
It's actually, like I said, a lot of people like from Sioux City kind of migrate to Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty similar. There's a lot of similarities. You know, a lot of the culture is the same. It kind of draws the same kind of crowd, the blue collar. There's, you know, raising capital of the world. So you've got a lot of grapes, a lot of agriculture in Fresno. But it was also, it was also kind of scary sometimes. I mean, a buddy of mine had his cousin killed in a drive-by at a park.
Wow.
Like 2 miles away as the crow flies. You know, that's, these things just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was just it's a different kind of vibe. It's totally different now too. Like around me, they were all fruit orchards.
Mm-hmm.
But because California ran out of water 20 years ago and just nobody told them, it's now all housing developments. And so it's just pocket of, you know, these cookie cookie cutter homes,
Mm-hmm.
and so growing up there, it's just, yeah, it's the very similar, but also California kind of just has a staleness to it almost.
Okay.
The big thing is the Best Buy, is the there's no history really, or like we've got the band shell over at Grandview Park. There was nothing. There were some things like that in Fresno, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the rivers. We didn't have that in Fresno. We just kind of, we got canals. Don't get near those things. Those things will, those things killed more kids. But
Yeah.
just stuff like that. So it was just it was a different place to grow up in by comparison to here. But I would rather have my daughter here.
Yeah. I like my kids here, especially like since I grew up here. And I originally grew up in Sergeant Bluff,
Okay.
and then we moved from Sergeant Bluff to Sioux City.
Okay.
And then just to kind of like the culture change, and like I always like that. It's like my family was always spread out, and so I think once I kind of moved to Sioux City, and I kind of got the friends that I needed.
Yeah.
And you just feel like the type of family base, and that's why I kind of hope like with my kids when they start develop their life and they're grown up and figuring out their friends, it's like, yeah, like we might not have the biggest family, but just know like he's like you'll always find people, because even like with my uncle, like with their uncles.
Yeah.
And I tell them, it's like, who is this? It's like, this is your uncle. It's like, why do they have different last names? It's like, I always tell them, it's like, you'll see when life goes on that when you have your kids and you grow up, it's like your buddy, Nathan, this is your Uncle Nathan.
Yeah.
And he's like, when you say Uncle Tyler, obviously I'm black, Tyler's white. It's like, we're two, yeah. And he's like, and so my son's starting to understand a little bit more, and my daughter's still trying to figure it out, but
I mean, she's almost 2. You got time.
yeah. But I said I like raising kids here. It's I do plan on building a house out in Oak Point within the next couple of years. Just kind of be a nice little country home where my mom plans on moving back. We've been trying to find land out there, but the way, man, let's say the prices out here for land is scary. What was your first thought moving back to Sioux City?
I mean, if we're talking 2017, 2018, from Vegas, it was, I was a beaten dog at that point. Like I was just, I was coming back here to lick my wounds and try and do something. But when we moved here in 2021, which is when my wife and I moved here, it was about discovering the place as an adult, because when you're a kid, you get taken to the places, you get told about the things. But as an adult, you have to go find the things. You have to go find the places. The best tailor in town is this lady on Pierce Street by like near 8th. And like, I had to go find that, because it's not, as an adult, that's the kind of stuff you care about. It's cool. It's cool finding your place and getting your people, getting your group. Lawyers are especially hard to hang out with, I guess, because we're always talking, because we have to. And and so finding a group of people to hang out with, sometimes they're lawyers, sometimes not, finding that group outside of work, it's just, it's always fun to do that. It's always fun to like create that community again.
Absolutely. That's like, once you kind of weave out and you start, like you find the right group of people, it makes life living a little bit better.
Definitely. Well, and also just that safe, there's a community and there's a safety to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause then you can, oh man, my car won't start. Well, this person will give you a ride. And that's, I've given neighbors rides to the hospital before, stuff like that. Like it's nice to be able to do these things and know it'll be, if you need it, it'll be there in a heartbeat. Like, you don't even need to ask.
Yeah. I live, next to the former CEO of Mercy and is it the chief of fire department? I believe that's what it, or the headshot of the fire department.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much like my two big neighbors. And you think to yourself, like, of their status of like, they'll probably be a little bit, ego, but they're probably they're the nicest people. And like, obviously, like I've never really grew up in a nice neighborhood like this. Like it's new to me.
Yeah.
And like I grew up in Bluff Street. Like once we moved from Sergeant Bluff, like my mom went through cancer. So we lost everything.
Okay.
And so we
Yep.
pretty much started from the bottom to now we got back to the top. And I remember when I met him, he was just like, "Oh, like I'm Ruth, and this is Dan." And met the other neighbor, and I was just like, and they were just so nice. Like they bring me vegan chicken, which I'll still eat it, and they bring me eggs every
Right.
single time. And they're the nicest. Like every single like during
Mhm.
winter time, they'll just leave it at the doorstep like with a little note, like how you doing? It's just like
Yeah.
obviously you growing up in Blush Tree, like I'll never forget my freshman year. My car got shot out.
Shoot.
Yeah, I remember walking out to school and I was driving a '96 Oldsmobile, and then I was driving my first. It was my get your license. That you drive to school, you're doing everything
Mhm.
correctly. Then you walk outside, and then you got a busted window. It's like okay, but you go from like that living type of neighborhood to seeing like the neighborhood you live in now,
Mhm.
where it's like it's just a whole different type of lifestyle. Like everyone's just so nice around you. So it's like I don't know. It's just I feel like the areas here just so like even kind of like this little area is kind of little like I don't know if you saw the clip that went kind of viral.
Yeah, that's.
Do you have TikTok or are you in the kind of the
See,
social media? I know you got rid of Facebook, but
and that's the thing is I went without social media for years,
okay.
so I didn't have the TikTok or the Facebook or the Instagram or any of those things. I'm getting back into them because I need to reach people, and that's how you do it. But yeah, so I have not seen the viral video that you were talking about. I gotta
But
check
yeah,
that out.
it was our first video here, our first video recorded here, and there was like a shooting that happened like a few blocks down the road,
Jeez.
and we're just like, man, like, what's going on?
Mhm.
Like, what's really going on out here? So hopefully, maybe when you come in, we can start because that's
Mhm.
the whole results back to the whole mental crisis things.
Well,
You just never know what it could be.
oh
So
yeah. Well, and also, I mean, and that's to beat a dead horse, but also if you get rid of the desire to do the drugs,
absolutely.
now their drugs aren't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the violence that comes with them, the neighborhood going to heck and all that, that goes away because the people who were doing them don't want to do them anymore or aren't trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're kind of basically getting to the root of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get to the root of the problem, then now the soil's good for something else.
Yeah. One thing, when I was telling people I was interviewing you, I asked them, I was like, what's one thing if you could fix
Mhm.
that, what would you want me to tell them? And I got the same answer from 10 people.
Okay. What is that question? What is that answer?
Fix the potholes. They said, you got your vote. If you can somehow, I've seen also, you have a bunch of, vote for Ben,
Mhm.
like on the west side.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm a Riversider, so
oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
yeah. So that's
We're basically right close to each other.
yeah.
Nice. That makes me so happy. I get so much shit for being a river rat.
You know what? It's one of those things like, don't live there then.
Yeah.
That's my people are there.
I tell people it's like I had the best time there.
Oh yeah.
I was like some of the nicest people I've met there.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and of course there's drugs and crime and all that. I mean, shit, there was a murder there 2 years ago.
Was there?
Yeah.
Damn.
It was over on Metropolitan. But yeah, it's one of those, yeah, these things happen. It's, we let everybody there.
Mm-hmm.
We're not keeping somebody out.
Mm-hmm. What do people from California misunderstood about the life in the Midwest?
So the fears that you have for your location versus somewhere else, the somewhere else is scarier.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's afraid in the Midwest of earthquakes in California. They're not that big a deal. Nobody cares about earthquakes in California.
Mm-hmm.
Even San Francisco, got broken in half in the 90s. Nobody cared. Everybody still lives there. Everybody in California is afraid of tornadoes.
Mm-hmm.
And are you afraid of tornadoes? I mean, yeah, you probably have a basement or something, but are you really
I'm probably outside recording.
Exactly. See, and that's yeah. And so it's one of those the grass is always greener, or the thing is always scarier on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things. There's also this misunderstanding, I guess, about it being boring. And I don't think that boring is the right word. I think the right word is peaceful.
I like that.
Because, that drive along I-90 along South Dakota, to get to Rapid, I mean, it does get old eventually. I mean, because it's a gorgeous painting, but it's the same painting for, 7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But it's peaceful. There's not there's not the sign, well, besides the wall drug signs, but there's not the, the signs for this, the signs for that,
Mm-hmm.
the crazy traffic, the crazy whatever. Like around, in the Midwest, it's peaceful because it's quieter, it's cleaner, water being what it is. But yeah, and that's what they don't understand is they don't know that because in California you don't really have that.
Yeah.
You've got Fresno has some of the worst air quality, like literally, like you can tell the difference between whether or not it's rained
Mm-hmm.
because you'll be able to see longer distances at after it's rained
Yes, sir.
because of how much cleaner the air is. And it's just, and then like after a couple of days, you're like, oh, this is how bad the air is here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it's a different place. I mean, it's hard to
Understandable.
explain.
How did I think we're at 14. Yeah. What makes Sioux City special to you personally? Sorry.
No, that's it's because of the roots I have here. Like I said, I grew up in California, and it was my mom, my sister, and me, and my dad. And we didn't have those roots. And then I was walking into the mall here when I didn't even live here, and we ran into my cousin. And
That's such a cool feeling.
But that's the thing. I had never had that. I was like 20. I was like 20 years old, and I had never had that. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I have family. I have family that I'll run into that I'm not even expecting to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, having that is just crazy to me. And it's really one of the things that I really missed, out on. And so coming back here, the small towns will remember you. There was my grandpa had a neighbor, and they would always reintroduce themselves to me by saying like it was our fence because I drove the car through their fence. And so, but yeah, just that history that you don't that community that you don't have, and that I always missed when I wasn't here.
Absolutely. That's like one thing too. Like you could go down the block and then or go to the gas station and I ran into my sister, and I did an interview with. Did you even know this guy was my brother?
No kidding.
Did he even know?
Okay.
That blew my, like when my mom told me, she's like, you know that's your brother, right? And I was like, I've called him Uncle Pooh since I was like 7.
Okay.
And then she was like, Drake, I've told you, like it's from your dad's side. It's not from me, but she's like, it's from your dad's side. But she was like, watch. She was like, when you interview him, just ask him. She's like, so if my sister's Shaniqua, and that means you're Shaniqua's brother, so that means you be my half brother, correct? And he was like, yes, Drake. And I was like, holy.
Oh, wow.
That's like, I was sitting there, I was like, dude.
You're having this like, just this.
Like, I was like, I was just so disconnected from my family that I just never, like, I was like, this is such a cool experience. Because like, I never like knew you as I always like when people like, where do you get your haircut from? Like, oh, just go see my Uncle Pooh.
Yeah.
I'd send him his information. They would go get his haircut, and just be like, I would just tell all my friends, oh, my uncle. Yeah. And then he would never correct it. That was the crazy thing. He would never correct it.
I mean, well, and that's the thing is, I mean, I guess he was letting you define how that was going to work.
Yeah. And so when I did the interview, I was like, and he was like, he's like, I just got used to it. And he's like, so
why am I going to tell you otherwise?
He's like, so when we did the interview, he's like, I figured this was going to be a question. And then I was like, dude, he's like, I never knew that. My mom was like, I tried telling you, but you just didn't want to listen. I was just like, well, that's so cool. And now we have a different relationship now. It's like,
because you were the one who wasn't aware.
Yeah.
It sounds like everybody else was.
Yeah.
So now that you're aware, you're like, oh, hey, I get to have this new relationship. And
Yeah. Because like I have a half sister, Shaniqua. She, do you remember the girl that went missing? For like 48 hours, she was found by a state trooper. She lost her hands and her toes. That happened a few years ago. Not a few years ago, but happened like, you moved back to Sioux City 21. Okay. Yeah. You were still in Fresno, but this happened back in 2012. It was 2013. I was still, I was a sophomore in high school. It was still going on.
Yeah, I was still in California.
Yeah, it was a crazy. What happened? And what happened? That she was working at Tyson. They saw her car leave, and then a state trooper found her 48 hours later. Oh, and just on like on a whim, he just like he parked this. He was driving a silver Dodge Charger. He walked like a half mile during a blizzard, and just saw a car in a ditch, and he was like, I'll just try it.
Yeah.
And he saw the car, ran the plate, saw it was her, walked another, pretty sure half mile, and found her just laying in a ditch.
Oh my gosh.
So it was just a crazy experience, and one we'll never forget.
No kidding.
How did reconnecting with your family shape your decision to come back?
Well, so I decided to go to University of South Dakota School of Law in 2014.
Okay.
And then while I was in law school, we lost my dad, my cousin, and my grandma.
I'm sorry about that.
There were some classes that I wasn't really paying attention in. But one of the things I wanted to do is, now that I've been around the family, I've had this connection. I kind of want to be around it some more. I want to see my people.
Yes.
And so, and then plus there's also the fact that now that my dad's gone, it's my mom, my sister, my nephew, and there's, I wasn't there. So there wasn't, my nephew's dad wasn't around. And there was nobody, my uncle was, I guess, but it's anyway. So I wanted to be around just so I could be there, and I mean, I think, one of the first times we got called in to, pick up my nephew, it was like, yep, glad we moved back here, just being available.
Yeah. Being present.
Yeah. For the little things and
Yeah. I had a cool uncle moment a few weeks ago.
What's that?
It's nothing really serious, but to me it was serious.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I do the podcast, and my nephew does like social media, but he
Okay.
does like TikTok dances.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I
You're
remember,
showing your age, by the way.
I know. Trust me, I know. And every time I look at his videos, I just laugh because it's just like, I just remember being your age, and I just never did any of this.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just laugh about it. But I was like, I love him regardless. But what I was getting at is like, obviously, I interviewed his buddy because he played for North, and I watched the North versus West game. I really liked how he played. And when I looked at his friend, it reminded me of my best friend. And so it kind of took me back in the moment. It's like, I got to talk to this kid because one, he reminds me of my best friend, Luis. And two, it's just like, he just has that demeanor. Like he's going to be something one day.
Yeah.
And I need to meet this kid. And so I interviewed him, and we're talking to him, and I saw his demeanor, how he spoke. And I was just like, okay, like I really like this kid. And he's my best friend's nephew. And so I was sitting there, I was like, I messaged them. I was like, if I bought you guys wireless microphones, would you guys start making content or making a podcast? And they're like, yeah, for sure.
Cool.
And so I spent, let's just say a hefty chunk at Best Buy for
An uncle amount.
Yeah, the uncle amount. And I remember just sitting there, I was like, if these kids make, I know if I end up passing away, it's like my kids are already set and taken care of, and these kids go off and go do something, they do something with social media. It's like, it's going to be a cool feeling to know like I had something to do with that. And so one question now for number 16. If someone from Fresno moved to Sioux City today, where's the first place you would take them?
It wouldn't actually be in Sioux City. So nope. So I would take them to the dunes.
Okay.
So that there's like there's a park kind of that if you go deep into like the country club and then you keep going, you can actually almost get to the tip of South Dakota.
Never
Did
knew
you know that? Yeah. So there's the way
You
you
go
find
trick or
it-
treating there. That's nice. I never knew that.
No, so there's a dog park.
Okay.
And if you get to the dog park, I had 2 dogs, and so we would take them there all the time because it's kind of, people in the dunes, they don't really need a dog park because they've got, giant backyards and all that. So, but when you go there, there's these trails, and you can take the trail almost to the tip of the South Dakota, like literally like throw a rock and get it into the Missouri or get it into the Big Sioux.
Okay.
And it's not something that is normal, that we don't realize is not normal, is being able to look and see that's one state, that's another state, and I'm in a third. I think it would just blow everybody from Fresno's mind, because Fresno is about 8 hours from the nearest state.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you can't go directly east because that is the Sierra Nevada mountains. You can't drive through them. So you either have to go south toward Las Vegas, or you go north toward Sacramento. And so that's, to get out of the state of California takes 8 hours.
Man.
Yeah, it's enormous. And so, so having those 3 states right next to each other, I mean, just every time, even my father-in-law is from South Carolina, and it still blows his mind. He's near Sumter, Fort Sumter. I think that's the airport they fly out of, but they're out of. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're from Charleston, but we're in Barrel Landing. Do you know where it's at?
I don't.
It's kind of like a. I'm gonna say it's some like big area. It's a decent area, but it's like there's not a lot of people around. Let's just say it's literally houses, one strip mall, and it's just like pretty much it. But it's not too serious. It's a nice little area. It's quiet. Let's just say that it's like an old people town. Like I'm telling you, like there's when we go out there, we're probably some of the youngest people out there.
Okay.
So it's kind of a nice little quiet town.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I think that showing somebody that, I mean, obviously you got to show them the band, the band shell at Grandview and some of the other stuff. But yeah, I think that would be the thing that would just blow their minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my buddy from Canada, he's from Edmonton. He wants to come down here in May. He's like, what are we gonna do? I was like, we're probably just gonna go eat.
Yeah.
I was like, there's so much different culture restaurants around here that you probably haven't had. Like he's never had Indian food. You ever had the Indian food on Hamilton?
Oh, well, that's
what
one's that one? That one's Shahi. No, Shahi is in Singing Hills.
Yeah.
It's
like talk. It's
tikka.
Tikka, yes, tikka.
That's we do tikka more often because it's on this side. Shahi, I mean, I think they're pretty good, both of them. But
yeah. So he's never had that food. I was like, bro,
he's never had Indian food.
He's a
Canada.
He's a blue collar worker. He's on the road, so that's why he's just like I'm taking the couple weeks off. He's like, I'm gonna come to Sioux City.
Okay.
He's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I'll just take you to eat places. Like, you ever been to Daggas?
Okay.
Out in Dakota City?
No, I don't think I have.
What is that? It's like a little sports bar.
Okay.
But I don't know if you like vibes like that.
That's honestly, it's just more about like how good is the food.
Amazing.
Oh, so yeah, there we go.
They have like their food truck is always booked. You can't even book them.
Okay.
Like they're booked like ahead. Like you have to like if you have a date. There's not saying don't call them, but try to call them and try to get something booked because if you're not booked by spring, they're already booked out for the year.
The entire year.
Yeah.
Oh,
so they're really good.
Nice.
Them. You ever had Robles?
No.
South Sioux?
No, I haven't had Robles. Have you had La Victoria?
Love La Victoria.
Okay. See, that is like, that takes me back to Fresno.
Yeah.
Because that is almost directly out of, the Mexican culture I knew.
There was a food truck outside Bakersfield. I'm telling you, like, I'll never forget those tacos and the burrito I had because it's like the food and the taste of it, the quality of it. It's different.
Well, and it's just some guy with like a propane, griddle, and he just drives around with this thing. You're like, this is probably not the cleanest, but dang, it's good.
I know my cousin told me, not my cousin, my brother-in-law. He's like, I promise you now. He's like, these are probably gonna be the best tacos you probably ever had. And I was like, can't be that bad.
They're all right.
I tried. I was like, yeah. And the thing, I've searched for trying to find just the taste or the quality of it. Still can't find it.
There's a few of them. There's one I remember I would get off, believe it or not. Do you remember the hatchet wielding hitchhiker story?
No.
So
I think I've heard it. Isn't it like a movie?
No, I don't think it was a movie. He literally he was catching a ride with a guy. Guy was having a mental health episode, ended up ramming his car into a utility worker and like pinning him against a telephone pole.
Okay.
And so this hitchhiker is just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So he grabbed the hatchet that he has on him because it's dangerous to be a hitchhiker. And he just bashes the guy's head until he stops trying to hurt this guy. Like, and then they're able to save everybody lived. But yeah, there's a viral video of him going like smash.
Oh, that video.
Smash.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was at the same exit as this one guy who had the best tacos in Fresno. It was a couple of blocks away from where I was living at the time.
Nice.
But yeah.
Let's get into the marine experience. I know we've definitely.
We're chatting. That's the point.
I guess absolutely. What made your decision to decide to enlist in the Marine Corps right out of high school?
So it wasn't right out of high school.
Okay.
It was actually, I had been out for just over a year, maybe.
Okay.
And then.
Were you 19 going in?
Yeah, I was 19 going in. I actually, One of the reasons why I'm big on the reform, like the what is it? It's not reform court. What is it called? Sorry, my brain. I'm
You're good.
blanking. But anyway, one of the reasons why I'm a big the alternative courts are big for me is I got in some trouble when I was 13, and the only thing I had out of it was a ticket saying that I was charged with a felony.
Oh wow.
So to get in the Marines, I had to have a felony waiver because I couldn't show them my record that had been sealed and the fact that it had gone not even to court, but to like informal court where I just had 2 days of community service, 3 months of informal probation. Like I didn't, I didn't have anything to show that.
Mhm.
So I had to get a felony waiver to get in. So it took me like 8 months. But so I was going to Fresno City College at the time. I was studying like electrical engineering, and I was driving to check my schedule at McDonald's because that's where I was working at the time. I was working on the grill,
Mhm.
and I was driving to my car, or I was driving to check my schedule. This is back before we had emails and all the things on our phones. And I'm driving, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this. So last second, I make this hard right turn into the recruiter's parking lot, cut off a car, honking, all that. My shocks are just, and I pulled in, and then they were like, "Yeah, no, you'd be great, except you have this thing,
Yeah.
in your history." And so it took me another like 6-8 months to get that taken care of. Ended up, yeah. So it was I didn't want that.
Mhm.
I didn't want that life. I didn't want the electrical engineering or the where I was going with those things. I didn't. It's fine for
Absolutely.
whoever. It was not what I wanted, and I wanted something different. So I went with I talked to my dad about it, and I was like, yeah, I kind of want an adventure. I don't want. I was thinking of The Hobbit at the time.
Mhm.
I read it back then, and I was just like, I kind of want an adventure. I don't want to do the same thing.
I get you.
And so yeah, so I went for it.
Was there any family members that joined like the military that kind of made you kind of like venture into that type of route, or were you just kind of like had that mind like, I'm just gonna go do this?
So my granddad was a Marine. He was in
Okay.
Korea. They did a couple of stories about him in the Sioux City Journal. But my uncle was in the Army. My grandpa was in the Army. I had a great uncle who was in the Navy. But my biggest thing is like I'm too tall to fly planes, right? Because literally you can't be over 6'2", I think.
That sucks.
They can't.
Nothing you can do.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's the physics, it's the engineering. Like they
Mhm.
can't install the seat adjuster.
Yep.
So I couldn't fly planes. Did not want to be stuck in a bunk somewhere on a boat. So that left Army or Marines, and I was like, well, shoot, I'll go be in the Marines like my granddad was. Yeah, like, and I went that route.
Absolutely. What was going through your mind the first day of boot camp and when you got to boot camp?
So going to boot camp is a 2-day thing, right?
Okay.
So you go from Fresno. You didn't actually go south to San Diego. You actually went north to Sacramento. Then they put you on a flight. So I left at like 10 o'clock on, I think it was a Saturday.
Mhm.
And then we ended up landing in San Diego, I think Sunday night. And then that night is the start of boot camp. And the yellow footprints where they like scream at you and tell you to get your feet on the yellow footprints. That's the start.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so going through your mind, it's just like, holy crap, I'm doing this. Okay. And there's that scared feeling. There's that excited feeling. There's,
Like an adrenaline rush?
oh yeah. And then one of the first things they do, it actually helps kickstart your immune system is they keep you awake for 48 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like you cannot sleep because if you sleep, or something about it makes your immune system work better or does something. And it's because you've got somebody from South Dakota, somebody from Oregon, somebody from, Texas, and somebody from California, all in the same room. All the different diseases, the cold, the flu, the whatever, is now all mingling in this one area where you are in very tight quarters, just so, yeah. So one of the first things they do is they keep you up. And so they don't necessarily have anything for you to do the entire time. So you're excited, you're running around, you're oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then they leave you for like 2 hours or like just hours on end. You're just standing there. You're not allowed to sleep. You're not allowed to sit. And it's just, so it like, it's this, you know, busy, 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 stop. Busy, busy, busy.
Are you
stop.
standing up or
Sometimes you're standing up.
are people falling asleep standing up?
Yeah, I almost did. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's freaking out. Like if you're the one who's like wiggling or fidgeting, they're like, hey, stop it. You know, don't get, you know, and you're policing your own. And
Yeah. What's something about the Marine Corps life that most civilians don't understand?
The boredom, honestly. Like,
Boredom?
Yep. That's you know, I have fired a automatic grenade launcher, right?
Okay.
How cool is that? Right?
That's video game stuff. Pretty much.
Yeah, like literally, like it is so cool. But in order to get to that point, there were probably 30 plus hours of classroom work. Just the day of being actually on the range, you're probably doing stuff to get on the range for 14 hours, only maybe 5 minutes of which is you actually being there going, like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. That is, so the other 14 hours, you're getting ready, you're getting stuff set up. Somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that. Iraq's like that, believe it or not. Iraq is, if you've ever been to like a really, really bad spot outside of like Arizona, that's what Iraq is kind of like. It's just hot, dry desert.
Yeah.
Roads are, you know, garbage, stuff like that. And then you're just sitting there for hours and hours. I mean, it's, you know, you're scared, but then nothing happens, you know, for weeks, for months. And you just, you know, it's just boring.
I get you. So you served as both a pay clerk and a machine gunner, two very different roles. What did those experience teach you?
So being a pay clerk, it was actually one of the first.
What is that? Can you explain it to me quick? Sorry.
So, okay. So there's.
Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, no. So there's different MOSs, right?
Okay.
Which are military occupational specialties. In the Marines, they have like 4-digit, like 4 new numbers. So it's like 0111, I think, is admin. 0311 is infantry, and so on. Mine was 3432 for pay clerk, and you are basically the guy that makes sure everybody gets paid right. Okay. There's different subspecialties. You know, I was a pay clerk, making sure people got paid right. There were people who paid travel. There were people who made sure your retirement was set up right. There were people who, you know, getting you out of the Marines. And so like all of these things, you know.
Yes, sir.
But at the end of the day, I was a pay clerk. It was actually one of the first times I saw something that just really just made me mad. I worked in Quantico, and I actually had to fix a 4-star general's pay. What had happened was he had gone to Iraq and had gotten combat zone tax exemption, which is you spend 2 or 3 days in a combat zone, and I can't remember what the exact number is. The entire month is tax exempt, so you're not paying taxes. This 4-star general would make 6 trips to Iraq a year, and it would be at the end of one month and the beginning of the next month. And he would spend 6 days at a time there, or 7 or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. And he would so at the end of it, it was 6 times, 36 days, and his entire year was tax-free. And he was the 4-star general.
Yeah.
He was the one who decided when to go. So he was the one who was making that decision to arrange his visits, not based on anything more than, hey, I'm going to get my entire year tax-free this way. And I was like, what? Like, no. I'm making $1,200 a month, as a private first class, or I think it was a Lance Corporal at the time. And like, I just see you kind of taking advantage of the system. And then like, don't you think that, not a good thing? And
yeah, I get you.
Yeah. It was just, that's
a frustrating thing.
It was really frustrating, but also while I was,
how old were you during that time?
I was 19 to 23. So at the time I was like 22, probably 21. Yeah.
Okay.
And then while I was a machine gunner, which I went to Iraq as a machine gunner, but really for 3 months I did that. For 3 months I did gate guard. But while I was on gate guard, I read the book by John Grisham. It's called The Innocent Man.
Okay.
And it was the first time I read true crime about like a guy who was basically railroaded into taking a deal, and they actually caught the guy who did the thing,
Mm-hmm.
but he was still in prison. Like this, he was a ball player, thought he was going to make it big. Like I think tried out for the majors, but had drinking problems or whatever. But he alcohol problems. They ended up getting him to confess, and with that confession, he ended up spending like 10, 20 years in prison. I can't remember all the, like literally the last time I read it was when I was in Iraq, which was 20 years ago almost.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just reading about that, I was like, man, I wish I could stop that. And, a few years later, maybe I'll go in this direction to be a lawyer. And then, now that I'm a lawyer, maybe I'll go do criminal defense work. And yeah, so it was like that was kind of the start of things
the train?
for me. Yeah.
Nice. I like that. What leadership lessons from the Marines that still influence you today?
So
'Cause you were a sergeant, correct?
I
Staff sergeant, or is that
those
is
are
two?
two.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
those are two. I was actually a sergeant on my paperwork when I was done.
Okay.
When I left the Marines though, when I was like my last day on active duty, I was a corporal.
Okay.
Which just that's how it is. And then I had enough time in active service to become a sergeant. Yeah, my paperwork says that. Have I ever actually worn the 3 chevrons? No. But
Okay.
anyway, but the leadership, the thing you learn in the Marines is you learn good and bad leadership, and you also learn what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I would see guys who were do as I say, not as I do. I told you to do this, go do it. And then they would go off and smoke a cigarette and try and chat up some girl, over there. And so it just pissed you off.
Yeah.
I saw guys who were like, hey, what are you doing? Every 10 seconds, I want you to check in with me. I want to see what you're doing, and I will tell you how you're doing it wrong.
Sounds like a crazy girlfriend.
That's that. He was a master sergeant. But basically, the constantly over your shoulder, the hovering,
Mm-hmm.
I hated that. And then I had a staff sergeant, who later became a lieutenant, probably even higher than that. He was just like, get the job done, get the work done.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I didn't do anything, illegal, I didn't break any rules. Maybe I didn't do it the way he wanted it done, but if it got it done and he had no like reason to have a problem with it, he's like, yeah, okay, cool. And so that was the one for me that I was like, oh, okay. So you let the person have that autonomy, but also make sure, because the Marine Corps, the leadership, the principles are number 1, mission accomplishment. Number 2, troop welfare.
Mm-hmm.
And so often people think that number 2 just automatically happens. And no, it's just, you get number 1 done, but then you have to remember the people who are doing it are just as important. And you got to make sure that they are happy, or you're doing everything you can to make sure that they are able to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've learned is, if I want somebody who's going to make sure personally I am doing as well as possible, as long as my job is getting done. And I have found that I do better in jobs where the boss is like that, and I do worse in jobs where the boss is a different version.
Okay. That sounds like you kind of broke that down for me. I like that a lot. You're giving me a lot more knowledge than because
I appreciate that.
Because I'm telling you, when I was talking to Maddie, it was just like a lot of my interviews I've done have been a lot like about business and like just stuff like that. Just kind of like wanting for me about business and how to run things. And when you now just telling when I watch this pod, I'm probably gonna watch this a lot because it's kind of like to keep replaying to listen to your words and it's like understand a lot more.
I appreciate that, but these things are already hard to fit on my giant head. So
you're good. It looks good on you, man. That's it. After this, I think you should start
like a podcast or something. Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you want to invite me back, I'll come back and chat with
Would
you.
you?
Heck yeah, why not?
I think you would like my co-host Tyler. He's not really much of like a business person, but I think from the conversation we have, I think you would really enjoy him. He's
okay.
What are you in the sport? Are you in the sports? Are you in football? Are you a football fan? Or
so I was actively told by my wife, my coworkers, and Maddie, don't talk about the sports I do like.
Talking about the sumo.
Sumo wrestling.
Oh,
she told me I'm not allowed to talk about it.
We can say that for the end of it.
I was gonna say I do enjoy that. Football is fun, but I mean, honestly, like when it's an hour-long game, because it's 15-minute quarters
Yes, sir.
and it lasts 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like like the math doesn't math for me. Like, if we're stopping it every 2 seconds for something, it kind of kills it for me.
Yeah.
Baseball, I love watching sports live. I'll do it all day long,
Mm-hmm.
but on TV, it's okay. This is not my favorite.
Yeah. Was there a moment during your service that really changed your perspective on life?
Besides seeing the general doing that,
Yeah.
and reading An Innocent Man, honestly, it was more a collection of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Being in Japan and that.
Were you stationed in Okinawa? I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't actually.
weren't?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is weird. Most, like 90% of all Marines you talk to will be in Okinawa.
That's where
I
AJ was. That's the reason why I wrote that as a little side question.
Yeah, no, and instead I was on this air station called MCAS Iwakuni, Marine
Okay.
Corps Air Station Iwakuni, and they ended up closing the finance office there,
Mm-hmm.
but I was one of the last people there, and it was 45 kilometers away from Hiroshima.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever, that is definitely a changing moment, is to go to a place like Hiroshima, go to the bomb museum, and see, the people who are turned into stains
Okay.
on concrete. Literally, that is how hot and how just violent this was.
Man.
There was this one little girl that still gets to me. The fallout. She got cancer. And there is a legend that says that if you make 1,000 paper cranes, you will get granted a wish.
Okay.
And at the end of her first 1,000, she wished and she didn't get her wish. And at the end of her second, she didn't. I think she died between her second and third 1,000 grains. And you just there's the reasoning behind it, right? Because I also read, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Rape of Nanking.
No.
Horrific. What
I'll
was
have to look
going
into
on. If you want to, it's rough.
I need some,
Okay. Yeah. If you want to read it, okay.
some dad time. That's probably.
Yeah, but maybe don't. It is definitely a type.
Mm-hmm.
But you're reading it, like I read that, and I was I went to the bomb museum within the same year, so I both saw the horrors done to the Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
and I read about the horrors the Japanese did to the people of Nanking, and it's just like it just blew my mind that, like, this is the same conversation. Like, this is two parts of the same conversation from, it was 60 years prior. And just, it kind of really opened my mind about, like, who is the bad guy? Who is the good guy?
Mm-hmm.
Who's talking? Who's telling the story? Like, anyway. And so that was the start of, like, me really getting into just thinking about some of these things,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the world beyond that. Anyway.
Yeah. My cousin David, he's a former Marine. He did the Air Force for 4 years. If you met him, you would love him. I just from what you just said, because I remember he's a private contractor
Okay.
for the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's something that kind of, or you kind of maybe explain it to me. That's all he says. He doesn't give me details. He says I'm a private contractor. I leave it at that.
Okay.
But he's just like he always used to go to, like, to Iraq and the bad areas.
Okay.
But then he got to the point to where I remember I was talking to him because I have Snapchat. I don't know if you're on Snapchat, but he always used to post on it. And I'd be like, "Where are you at now?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm working." And I remember him telling me, he's like, "This is like my last time I'm doing this because it's like I'm not doing it for the right reasons anymore."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, for some reason, like, it's not clicking. Like, he's like, it's not like what I've felt isn't what it feels like it's not supposed to be happening. All right. The way he explained it, but I didn't know what he was really talking about. I know he was trying to explain it in terms I could understand it.
Yeah.
But just from, like, I don't know, just what you just said though, from, like, I
Yeah.
kind of get what he was saying to what you're saying. I was like, okay, I can't tell him I'm gonna send this to my brother and I'm gonna send it to AJ. Well, send it to David, and they'll definitely watch it.
Cool.
Life after the military. Transitioning from the military to civilian life can be tough. What was the transition like for you?
It wasn't too hard for me. Some people go full moto, is what what, they get the stupid stamp, which is the Eagle Globe and Anchor tattooed somewhere on them. I knew one guy who had his rank tattooed on his arm, and we were always wondering what was going to happen when he got when he hit E8, E9, because no matter what, if you hit E8, it'll look the same. You can just add on to it, right? You can go from like E0 or E1 all the way to E8, and basically it looks normal. But as soon as you hit E9, that centerpiece changes no matter what. And so what was he going to do if he, was he going to get it fixed or anyway? But it wasn't hard for me to leave it behind because I always treated it like a job.
Okay.
I went to work. I went home. I went on, I spent a long time doing something else in Iraq. I went, I lived in Japan, but it was always, that was work. And then I'd come home and I didn't, it wasn't who I was entirely. It's a big part of it, but it wasn't my entire identity. Some people do have a problem leaving it behind. The driver of the vehicle behind us in Iraq, he killed himself, I think, a year after we got back.
Oh, wow.
Just his mental health and all that. I didn't even notice that he had problems. Which, was I paying attention or would I have even seen it? Who knows? But, it's just, you got to keep an eye out for that stuff. But for me, it wasn't that hard. And then some of the benefits you get out of it, like, the VA, the GI Bill, stuff like that. Like, there's some really great benefits afterward.
What pushed you towards studying business and eventually going to law school?
Business was just because I was going in a direction, and business was a direction. I didn't particularly like or hate the field. I figured it was like a Swiss Army knife degree,
Okay.
it can be useful pretty much anywhere, because somebody needs to know how to run the business, the office, whatever.
Yep.
If it's software, if it's, a nonprofit, somebody needs to know how to run it. So, okay, I figured that was a good one. And then law school, we had a business ethics teacher, and he had his JD, and it just so happened he hit me with a bunch of ethics stuff. Like, he had this one, it was superhero or philosophy. If Superman saves baby Hitler, is Superman responsible for what he did? And it's just like, I just absolutely loved thinking about that stuff. I loved talking about it. And so as we went along, that was my favorite class. And, and then we went into like some of the math stuff and all that. And math is supposed to be like the science, but it's also got its own, like, but sometimes the answers don't work and just don't pay attention. And I was like, no, you're science, you're hard facts. Like, and they're like, but sometimes numbers just don't work out right. And then law is like, no, it changes by the day.
Oh yeah.
And so that I liked that. I like the fact that it was upfront. Like, hey, you depending on the judge, depending on the day, depending on the client, depending on whatever, 1,000 different things, you can have a totally different outcome, and you have a lot of say on that. And I was like, I like that. So between that and the fact that business professor had his JD, I was like, okay, well, I'll go do that. And plus, I had the GI Bill, post 9/11 GI Bill pays 36 months. Full tuition and a housing allowance, and it'll help pay for your books and all that.
Okay.
So I did a degree completion program. I already had, I think, like 60, 70 credits when I got out. So I was able to do a degree completion program and only use about maybe 10 months of my GI Bill. And then after that, I went to law school, and every semester of law school was covered by the GI Bill.
Okay.
So like I literally didn't have to pay for tuition while I went to law school. I mean, that's huge. And so being able to do
Definitely
that.
a bread saver.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Now, granted, I was still an idiot and still took out student loans, and that's a whole other thing.
Yep.
But it was, I had the ability and I had the money, I guess. Like, You know, that wasn't holding me back. So why wouldn't you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Do the hard thing. You know?
Yeah. How did your military background help you navigate through law school?
Law school, I mean, it's a little different. So if you are in the military, or if you are the one who has lived outside of college,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're going to be different.
Yeah.
Because you've got the guys in law school who have spent 4 years in undergrad and now are going to law school,
Mm-hmm.
and they've never not lived in the dorm, or, you know, they don't know what it's like to work during or, you know, to keep going in the summer, stuff like that. You know, it's just, it's a different lifestyle in school versus out of school. They've never known that lifestyle outside of school.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you go into it and you're like, what are you talking about? This is all I have to do,
Yeah.
like full time, and I'm doing this. Like this counts as full-time student, really?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so for me, it wasn't that. It was honestly, it was like, wow, this is easy. And granted, it's still law school. It's still a giant pain.
Oh yeah.
But I was able to do all of it for, you know, and I had the mindset already there of, trust me, it can be worse.
Yeah.
And so,
You worked in several public service roles: IRS, Department of Aging,
yes.
Public Defender's Office. What did those experiences teach you about the system? Or what can you teach me about the system?
So there's a lot of different things you learn. The IRS, one of the things I learned there is, and I found this out later on, in the federal government, at least it used to be under new regimes, federal government is probably a very different place to work.
Yes, sir.
But back then, it was more likely you would die of natural causes than get fired.
Wow.
We actually had a woman throw her phone at her boss when I worked at the IRS, and she was allowed to retire right away, like be gone. And so I was like, really? This is, you know, and there's more stories from the IRS that are not really safe for work. It was just wild. Like, this was my job, and yet this kind of stuff was happening. Bureau of Reclamation, which is, they run their water conservation for the western half of the United States. So like Hoover Dam outside of Vegas.
Okay.
That's them.
Okay.
So that kind of showed me a lot of like the behind the scenes, you know, the federal government doesn't necessarily own all this stuff, but it has easements, you know? So in that case, you have a right to go and inspect that important water thing.
Yep.
So you have a right to drive on this person's land. So even though you don't own it, you have this right. That's just one part of it. Then there's like the contracts for water, you know, which in the West is huge. There was just so much to it. That was really interesting to understand the water situation in California, just a different side to it. Department on Aging, for a little while there, I was actually public guardian for the state of Iowa because of being there.
Okay. It's like a pretty cool role.
It's, I don't know.
Well, to me, from
I was going to say,
outside perspective looking in.
yeah, I was going to say, do you know what guardianship is?
Mm-mm.
Guardianship is saying that there's an adult who cannot make their own decisions.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, we have POI with my grandpa.
okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of similar like that. Or just-
more. It's
okay.
actually more. It's stronger. Because you can actually override them.
Okay.
Your grandpa can make a decision. You can say that. You can say something different,
Yeah.
and they will take your grandpa's word over yours if it's made intelligently. If it's a guardianship, and different places use different things. California calls conservatorship for everything. Iowa has guardianship of the person, conservatorship of their stuff. Like, it's just all different. But guardianship, they want one thing, you want another. Your voice wins out over them.
Okay.
So your grandpa says, I don't want to go in the nursing home. You can say tough.
He ain't going to no nursing home.
But
I know what you mean. I just had to make that joke.
Oh yeah, no. But that's the thing is, but your decision overrides his.
Yes, sir.
And imagine, like, there was a really big case out of Las Vegas where they found this, almost cabal is the right word for it, where they would identify these people, they would get guardianship over them, they would sell all of their stuff, and then put them in a nursing home to die.
Wasn't that a movie?
There was a movie like it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, I think it kind of came from this case out of Las Vegas. and you just look into it, and it's, I mean, the number of people.
Yeah, it's like Carmelo Anthony's wife that started in it.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. That's yeah, it is scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we're all heading in that direction. Like, you know, given enough time, you're going to get disabled.
Yep.
If it's not physically, if it's not mentally, it's going to be both.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And so that's what's coming, and then to find out that it can go that way. And that was the worst part, is finding out like the way elder abuse is treated.
Yep.
You know, child abuse has all of the funds, has all of the press, you know, everybody talks about it. Elder abuse, they're horrifically abused, almost worse in some cases,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, a child at least has the time to overcome this, or maybe they don't understand the elder abuse. They understand.
Yep.
And then they just die.
That's
That's the outcome of that case versus with child abuse, and the money differences and all that. It was insane to learn
Mhm.
that. And then the public defender's office, just all the things you learn about the criminal justice system. It's different everywhere, but it's also the same everywhere. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I started 2021. So this is months after George Floyd.
Yeah.
And so it was actually really nice. You know, Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, kind of this, you know, liberal, you know, outpost in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Sioux City, and I'm like, oh man, what is this? What am I going to be seeing on this? And it is, yeah, it is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sioux City, like the police department and all that, they are very good about recognizing the powers they have and do it. Like, yeah. And so it was really nice to realize that it's not the same everywhere, even though it feels it sometimes.
Yeah.
By the way, I apologize for going. What are we at now? Is that 2 hours?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
good.
No, I'm
Unless
just,
you need to.
No, I'm good.
No,
I
you're
was
good?
just, I just wanted to make sure. Like, I'm sorry if, you know, you're like, oh yeah, I actually wanted to get out of here after.
No,
20
you're
minutes.
good. I'm fine. I love doing the pod.
Okay.
Especially, I'm telling you, you have no idea how you like when Maddie sent that message, like where people were like you were like a superstar in the. I'm telling you, it was really cool. Let's get into like marriage and fatherhood.
Okay.
You got married in 2021. How has being a husband changed your perspective on life?
So I understand it a little better, because I didn't get married until I was 35.
Okay.
Right? Was I 30? How old was I? 2021. Yeah, I was 35, 36 years old. I met my wife when I was in 2019. So from basically, I graduated high school 2002 to 2019, you know, I'm not necessarily single. You know, I had quite a few long-term relationships during that time, but you know, there's this, I guess, confidence
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't realize you didn't have being married versus being single. You know, as a married guy, you know, oh yeah, well that's, you know, you have to keep this woman happy, and you know, and that's pretty much the job. But being single, you're almost keeping every woman happy. You know, like you're trying to be the best you can for the girl at the grocery store and the girl at the gym and all that. Like you're trying to impress all these different people. Now I have to keep my wife happy, and the rest of them I don't have to worry about. I don't have to think about. I don't have to care whether or not my shirt was untucked and I looked, you know, like heck. As long as my wife is, you know, not unhappy with that. Hey, so yeah, there's that it's confidence to it that I didn't know about. My buddies have been married, you know, 20 years, and then for me, I'm just like, no, you know, this is new to me. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. What's the biggest lesson marriage has taught you? What's something you can teach me about marriage?
Okay.
Give me some of that.
Okay.
So I might propose soon. I had to say that. I'm sorry. Continue.
No shit.
Off camera, we can talk about that.
Okay, that's good luck to you.
I know
sir.
she's just gonna see that. She'd be like, "You've been saying this for a year." That's the reason why.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Like this isn't like
I have
you
a
know,
plan. I
okay.
just can't talk about it on the camera.
Okay, cool. No, so getting married, there's a certain amount of what do I really care about.
Okay.
My room is now that length of the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
That is my side of the bed. That is my room. My wife doesn't go there. Nobody goes. I mean, my daughter goes over there and messes with everything she can.
Mm-hmm.
But like that is the entirety of my space.
Mhm.
Everything else is, you know, well, yeah, but I also wanted to put craft stuff in there, or, you know, well, the kitchen needed this, you know, whatever. And at the end of the day, I don't care
Mm-hmm.
about a lot of things. Like, you know, is there way too much clutter in my house? Probably. But honestly, at the end of the day, everybody's healthy and happy, and there's not stuff being stored on the stairs, which is, you know, it's a safety thing for me. We're fine.
Yep.
You know, so my room is this, you know, it's just this tiny little stretch, and I'm happy with it. And that's, you know, but also me personally, I am a happy person. My wife makes me happy. My daughter makes me happy. I am happy in my life. I am happy. Therefore, my relationship is better. You know, I'm able to talk with my wife. That's the number one thing that, like, I would, I guess, you know, make sure you are okay so that you can be okay for them.
Okay.
Like that is the big thing, because if something does bother you, how is it going to bother you? It's gonna be a little, you know, you're gonna be a little short.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little shorter with someone. You're not gonna, maybe you're gonna avoid talking to them on the phone one day. Maybe you're gonna drive. You're not gonna come back to whatever, you know, you're gonna leave and then just not come back as quick. Something like that. There's 1,000 little things that are gonna add up, and if you don't address them,
Yep.
you know, and so are you happy? You gotta, you know, and so for me, like my wife will do something that'll bother me. 3 weeks later, I'll be like, hey, I need to talk to you about this. And she'll be like, okay, I knew something was wrong. It's been wrong for 3 weeks. And, you know, but it took me that long. I'm making sure I'm okay. I'm making sure I understand me before, you know, but doing that has helped so much.
Okay.
Anyway.
How one thing that I'm not trying to stir
No,
off, but with me and my partner is that her and I, we struggle with telling each other like what's wrong.
Okay.
Like we can tell each other like you're not communicating with me, you're not, you know, you're hearing me out.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I've been trying to like implement is just like discover the problem. How can we discover the problem from being married?
Mm-hmm.
Like how can you like
Well, and remember, I've been married for like 5 years, right? Like, yeah, I know.
But 5 years can feel like,
Well, and that's the thing is, but it's all been happy. That,
okay.
like, you know, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, the first 2 years are great. Like, no, I've been happy to be with my wife every year.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always been happy.
That's like even like now, even when we have like our bad times, like
Mm-hmm.
she's still like that's still my person,
Mm-hmm.
and that's still the rock of it.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like with the wife, like even my girlfriends, like there's that sole person that makes
Mm-hmm.
everything, and it feels like it completes everything. And
Yeah.
I feel like with her, it's that.
Good. One, lock it down as soon as you can. Because that's my wife. Our second, we had our first date. We went 5 hours. Our first date was 5 hours.
5 hours first date.
Oh yeah.
What'd you do?
Like that, we'd started off with us just going to get coffee at Starbucks,
Okay,
and
nice and simple.
Yeah, because that's honestly, like, for me, that's a perfect first date. I need to know about you. You need to know about me, and we're not going to put this shit in the dating app.
Mm-hmm.
Which, sorry about swearing.
You're good.
I know, but the like that is actually how we met, was on Bumble. But you know, you need to know that real person,
Mm-hmm.
and even then, you're not going to meet them that first night. But at the same time, after 5 hours, something's going to poke through,
Yeah.
and nothing that I saw was a problem for me. And so the next day, she was like, "Hey, I don't want to wait to go on another date. Like, you want to go on another date?" And I was like, "Heck yes." So Tuesday's date, 5 hours. Wednesday, we haven't been apart since.
Really?
Not at all. Like, I mean, yeah, we have, you know, work trips and all that, but no, just why?
Just has that click, and
It was that, you know, I heard about a guy getting married on his first date, and I was just like, what is wrong with you?
yeah,
And then I met her.
and everything's just different.
Get it.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things, unless you understand it, you don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, so for you guys to communicate better, you have to let the other person get it all out. Okay. And I mean, and that's actually understanding what that person wants to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, my wife has asked me something and I've said something snippy back. And I immediately was like, no, that's not actually how I feel. It's actually, I feel like this. But, you know, and is it perfect? No, it's never going to be perfect. But, you know, you constantly like, you give that person the chance to say something wrong or, okay, you didn't mean that, you meant this, you know, just, but yeah, just working towards making sure you understand me, I understand you. And that is just constantly what you're working on.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's,
I'm a father. You recently became a father about a couple years ago.
yeah. That's, yeah.
What was the moment like when you first held your daughter?
Honestly, it wasn't as climactic for me.
Really?
You know, yeah, like for some people, it's
Did you
like,
cry?
No.
Me either. I ain't gonna lie.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean,
I think I became more emotional as time grew.
yes.
There
Well-
it's like,
Well,
I don't know why I'm crying.
No, so we don't have the connection with the baby that
Yeah.
mom does.
Yes.
You know, mom has had this thing that's inside of her, punching her gallbladder and doing all these other things. And you and I are just like, okay, let me go get this, you know, like, okay,
Yeah.
what does the baby want, you know, or whatever. It's, you know, we don't have that connection. And I am right now in full on connecting mode with my daughter. She's 18 months, almost exactly 18 months. And so she is starting to like crawl into my lap and just like hang out in, you know, the cave that is dad,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm like, oh crap, you know, you own me, don't you? Like she knows it, you know, and that's, but changing your perspective, I understand some things a little better, you know, like the whole thing about the only training you get to be a parent is what your parent is like your parents raising you.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that
Yeah.
until until like a year ago. And I was like, like, you know, and granted, it sounds like kind of thing like what's that meme with the guy like doing drugs in the middle of the rave and he's like, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
that's what it's like. It's just like, oh wow, yeah,
Mhm.
and everybody else is like, duh.
Yeah. How does being a dad influence on the decisions you make personally or professionally? I'm sorry.
Professionally. One, I understand. So it's experience. It's always experience.
Mhm.
I understand someone who is in the Marines better than I understand someone who's in the Air Force, right? I understand what was going through someone's head when they were working at McDonald's versus someone working at Burger King. You know, I have this experience now, so I understand what their life was like a little bit better. Does that mean I agree with what they did or didn't do? No. Does it mean that, you know, it just gives me more experience so that I can then bring that to whatever I'm doing. There have been some bad cases that I've been a part of or helped research, stuff like that. And, you know, in some parts I'm more forgiving, in other parts I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's not something that I think I started doing it after my daughter was born, and I don't recommend it. Putting yourself in the shoes of the victim, like there was a little girl in Palestine, and she somehow or another was able to like call out.
Okay.
I don't think the phone worked where she could hear, but she's on the phone crying for like hours, and you hear explosions, and then they stopped hearing from her.
So
And like I can't not think about her, how she felt,
mm-hmm.
you know, because I do that for my daughter. Like why do you think that me changing your diaper is this horrific thing? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But then you think about this other girl and it's like, oh God, you know, you didn't, your memory of life is going to be this horror.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah. And so that is something I started doing, and I probably shouldn't do it, but I also think that not feeling is probably worse than
Okay.
feeling,
Yeah.
you know, which is drugs and all that is, yeah.
Understandable. One thing I really liked when you were talking about is you and your wife doing like a podcast,
Uh-huh.
and you guys record it and you're going to give it to your kid. So
Yeah.
what kind of father do you hope your daughter remembers you as? So this is a hard one for me too. I always get emotional during every time I ask a question like this, because like my third baby, and I have an angel baby. We just had his anniversary 4 days ago. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
But my third baby has mosaic Down syndrome,
Okay.
and so now I'm trying to start to understand, because like both my kids are typical kids, as the doctor calls it, and which is kind of cool. One of my best friends is her doctor.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of really helps me.
Yeah, understand.
Dumb it down.
Yeah, and also dump on them like, hey, what you like?
Yeah.
Okay, the boogers are not this color. Why?
Yeah, trust me. And like I have asked this man a million questions,
Mhm.
and he has never stared me or like blown me off. He's always gave me the answers, and he's always gave me the comfortability, be like,
Mhm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And now just kind of figure out like, okay, like how does I need to be for Cammie? How she, just from like my older two kids, I'm a whole different dad. But from like with Cammie, I feel like with her, it's like I'm just more as like a more softer parent.
Yeah.
So
Well, this is actually so our big thing right now is Bluey.
Bluey, okay.
Mhm. That's it.
She's flippy. I don't know if you're into that.
No, that's we were.
That's something I don't even know. It's just I got put onto it, and I was like, I guess.
Yeah, no. So Bluey for me is, I think, brilliant, because I think probably maybe half the time it's actually parenting training.
Okay.
Like, fully commit to whatever stupid thing your kid wants to do. Your kid wants to have you act like a horse and you get married.
Yes.
This dad is just like, oh, this is the best day in my horsey life. And I'm like, what are you, the commitment, and for me, it's just like, okay, so I need to commit. I honestly, at the end of the day, I want my kid to remember me as nicely as I can hope for, which, you can't, you're going to have bad days. Hopefully they don't remember those as, better than the good ones.
Yep.
But yeah, I really hope that she remembers that I always loved her, I guess.
Mhm.
Like that was never a question. She never thought, she was never like, oh, maybe, or, oh, well, I was bad that one time, or, never had a question in her mind. Like I think that's if I do that, I think I'll have done all right.
Thank you. That really helped me out a lot.
Oh yeah.
As an internal parent.
Oh yeah.
Like being a young parent trying to figure stuff out, and I grew up in a single home.
Mhm.
I dropped out of high school at 15, and
Oh
I came back and graduated. That was like the cool thing.
yeah.
But like just trying to show my kids. I remember just telling my girlfriend a few weeks ago. It's like, I never had like the life growing up. Like I never had the 2-parent household.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm obviously you're the stepmother, but it's easier to open up to someone that you actually care about.
Yeah.
And I remember just telling her, it's like, kind of like a similar question to that. It's like, like I want to be able, like my kids to know, like, dad's able to love, dad's be able to give love.
Yeah.
And he's just not just a strict parent. Cause like one thing it's like different from like I've understood between my kids' moms and myself is that I'm the strict parent, but my kids always look up to me as like their protector. Like
Mhm.
dad's strict, but
Yeah, that's
he knows
the
like
safety
they're
that comes
safe.
with it.
Yeah. And that's that they're safe. And that's like where like one thing I've really started to like understand of being a parent now, like these last few years, like, cause when you're trying to figure out your life and you're going through dark times and you kind of understand, like, I really need to start kind of figuring out a lot of things. And once we figured out we had Cammie, really started kind of clicking a lot for me. It's like, okay, like I need to be more present, more to understanding, and 3, like more hands-on. And that's been kind of really, but what your answer really helped me out a lot mentally, honestly. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
How do you balance being a public servant with being a present for your family?
That's actually a decision.
Okay.
That was a part of this. Because, like I said, my daughter's 18 months. She is peak cuteness. I mean, babbling, just learned to walk like 2 months ago or something like that, 3 months ago.
Did you cry when she walked?
No.
No,
The crying for me, like, no, I was,
I don't know. I'm more emotional as a parent than I ever was with my first two kids, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like from just growing up, like you know, I grew up with my grandpa and my mom, like you know, with the whole like
yeah.
don't show emotion. So it's like when you, but finally, I think I kind of like let that guard down and started being like, dude, just enjoy the life, because you're not gonna get these years back. And so like my daughter's about to be 10 years old, my son just turned 9,
Okay.
and I have Cammy at 2, and so it's like I've been the strict parent for 10 years, so it's like let me just let my guard down for once, and not like guard down, but it's just like let's let them be a kid. I was a kid, let them be a kid, and so, but like well, let's get back. Sorry, sorry,
No.
it was.
No, that's,
I love talking about being a parent, but
yeah. So, what was it? Oh,
how do you balance being a public servant from being a
yeah.
present for your family?
So yeah, I made that decision when I decided to run.
Okay.
Is that I was going to miss some things. And at the end of the day, I think it's more worth it for me to try, even if it sucks.
Yep.
And even if I don't win, I tried. And I tried to do it because I think that I will be able to make Woodbury County, make the people of Woodbury County happier, safer, better. And so I tried to do that, even though I knew I was going to have to lose out putting her to bed, reading her stories. You know, I love doing those things, but sometimes I'm going to have to miss out. And that is the cost. Is it worth it? You know, is the juice worth the squeeze? As of right now, at this point, I have to think it is. So I do. I'm making that decision. I'm making that sacrifice.
Absolutely. We're coming to the end of the show questions.
Okay.
Do you want to touch base before we kind
Okay. So let's talk about it. So I'll interview you. Okay.
Okay.
So let me make sure I hold this. Right.
Yes, sir.
You watched a video that I am in. Okay. What it's entitled Meth is Great.
Okay.
Right? Is that what it's,
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. What did that title mean to you?
What it meant to me was I understood like
But before watching the video.
Before watching the video, that's the thing. I'm not really much of like a judge person.
Okay.
Like I'm not I get put that on like about me a lot for some reason, and I don't know why. Because it's like I'm quick to help whoever.
Yeah.
Like I'll give my last dollar to you if it matters. And so, but just from like seeing the name of it, like it didn't even really faze me.
Okay.
But I'm not, because I'm gonna give you a chance regardless.
Okay. So and you also knew you were going to be interviewing this guy who had this video out there called Meth is Great.
But I tell you, it didn't even.
Okay.
It at the end of the day, it's like, and obviously we talked off camera, and
yeah,
I know I know when this gets posted, I know who's gonna comment, but we won't get into that. But you know, I read her comments, but I also listened to what you read, and from what you were saying to what she was saying, I was agreeing with more what you were saying.
Okay.
Because I get what you were saying, and it was just like
So what did you take from it?
Just like if I could watch it one more time, I wish I could.
Well, no, but I mean, but you watched it. So
yeah.
What has stuck?
It was like when I first read it, I was just like, okay, like crack, whatever, or meth, or you know what I mean. So that kind of threw me off for a second, but it was just like how I'm trying to say it, because like I get the whole. It was mainly I'm trying to hard. It's,
See, I'm loving this. I'm loving putting you in the like. Now
because like I only watched it once because from the time Maddie sent me to, and I watched it, and I kind of I was like listening to it, and I was like, okay, like about the fighter jets and this, and so like I was kind of like listening to it, I was like, okay, like, but I can't, like, I'm not gonna like agree. I agree with what you were saying, but it's just like I don't know. This is the name of it. This obviously just is throw off.
Well,
but
yeah,
you can kind of
so
now you're in front of me, so kind of give so I
okay.
can get a little bit more understanding of it.
So I literally in my head I called it my Meth is Great speech, and it's because there are two things that meth does excellent. It makes you feel better, by flooding your system with dopamine almost the fastest that I've heard of anything else, any other substance.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if like putting the wires into your brain and zapping your dopamine or whatever. I don't know if that's better or not,
Mm-hmm.
but literally like meth is as good as anything else I was able to find. And because it's so quick and because it makes you feel so good, it is so addictive.
Yeah.
So meth is great at making you feel great.
Yes.
You can be on meth while I've heard this story, and this actually has nothing to do with any of my clients, while your arm is being chewed off by dogs.
Jesus.
That this woman was on meth and her arm was chewed off by dogs, and she woke up like with that much missing. Like that is how good it made her feel. And I think it's, and you know, and I go back in my mind, you know, we put on the Facebook, the picture, the eggs, you know, this is your brain on drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that? I don't know. I was going to say this is I think I was just about at that age where I was like, drugs are bad. Okay. You know, like I was Dare generation. I don't think Dare was around when you were.
I wasn't there.
Oh, you were in Dare? Okay.
Mhm.
That's so,
You're good.
okay. So, you know, they show us this, you know, the original commercial is this frying pan, and they're like, this is your brain. And they're showing you an egg.
Mm-hmm.
And then they crack the egg, put it in the frying pan and say, this is your brain on drugs. Any questions? And at the time I didn't have any questions.
Yeah.
You know, because, okay, so my egg brain goes into the frying pan. That's okay. I don't want to do that, you know? And like, I don't know if we could argue its efficacy, you know, 20, 30 years later, the fact that, I mean, there's still a giant drug problem, but what it did and what I have a problem with it doing is it ignored the reason. People don't do drugs because, you know, for dumb reasons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like ecstasy, there's marijuana, there's alcohol, there's all those things. Yeah, those are drugs
Mm-hmm.
that change how you're feeling. But, you know, why are you doing them?
Yes.
You know, well, if you're drinking, you know, you're drinking because it makes you feel better, but also you're able to handle it and it's not affecting the rest of your life. Otherwise you go into AA and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Ecstasy, you know, yeah, you do that just to party, but you know, as long as, you know, most people grow out of that. Right.
Yep.
And then some people do the hard stuff though. I don't think anybody does meth for fun.
Yeah.
You know, nobody goes like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do meth this weekend and then file my taxes on Monday. Like that isn't, you know, and there's probably people out there who can do that. But for the most part, the people who are the problem, the people that are being arrested for it aren't those people. These are the people who have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they're doing the drugs is because
Just to find that.
Well, it's so the number one thing everyone who does meth has in common is trauma.
Okay.
Like that's if you have two people who do meth, most often they have trauma as they both have trauma.
Okay.
Nothing else. Age, race, gender, you know, social standing, any of that.
Mm-hmm.
None of it. It all comes back to something messed them up and then they're self-medicating.
Yeah.
Because meth makes them feel better. And so that the egg in the frying pan skips the part where they're doing this because their egg is broken. You know, something is wrong. And if we don't mention, hey, these drugs will make you feel great, even when your house is on fire around you,
Yeah.
even when you are losing your kids, even when your arm is being gnawed off. Like, yeah, it may make the problem, you know, it may make you not care about the problem, but it does not a damn thing for the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was hoping to get through.
Now you explain it to me. It's like,
right? It makes
people judge a 30-second clip than actually listening to. It's like the way you probably explained it there, like people just took that little 30-second clip and it's like they just put it out there for the world and they're like, oh, listen to this guy. And it's like, how about you listen to the full or the full interview or or be there for the full thing?
There's two other things. One, the video was sped up by 1.3 times.
Yes.
So now
I saw that. I was kind of questioning that too. I was like, why would that even be a thing?
Well, it's so that you can get as much as possible into the thing.
Yeah,
But like also it makes it look like I'm on meth.
yeah,
Like,
that's-
and okay, that's at the end of the day, I can't take that back. But also what I did was I was nervous and I practiced the hell out of that speech. And when I practice a speech enough, I go real fast.
mhm.
And that's what I did. I was nervous. I had practiced the speech. I was talking faster than I should, than they probably liked me to do. And then you speed it up a little more, and then you have the content. And now there's this video of me. And yeah, and so
So
anyway.
they just clipped that little 2 pieces, and that's the clip.
Well,
and
and
that's their little, and that's the part where it's like, don't even worry about that.
No, and that's
Trust
the
me.
thing is they're also, by the way, the Bitches Get Stuff Done, which is the name of the group, very nice people. Okay. What they were doing is they were trying to get the message out there.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it also just so happens to be kind of clickbaity,
Yeah.
which it is,
Mhm.
and the speech was clickbaity. I said meth is great in this speech to make it clickbaity.
Yep.
And then it just so happened to become clickbaity, but not in the way that it was perfect. And anyway, yeah. And so that is, if you are coming to this podcast, that is the story of the meth is great video.
All right, let's get to the end of the show questions.
Okay.
What does a perfect day off look like for you?
Perfect day off. I hang out with my family.
Yes, sir.
My daughter goes down for a 4-hour nap, and I know it's going to be a 4-hour nap. And I sit there by myself doing a puzzle, listening to music. There is a certain amount of peace that I get out of that.
Okay.
Because it's literally the lines on this piece and the lines on this piece match. That's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about relationships. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. It's also only for me.
Mm-hmm.
No one else gets anything out of it. It's just for me to do my thing. And I'm just able to be quiet, and it's a calm thing. And I absolutely love it. 18-month-old daughter, can't really do, can't really do puzzles like that.
Yeah.
But perfect day would be like that. Obviously, my wife would be there with me. We'd all be hanging out. Whoever else wants to be there is welcome. But for 4 hours on that day, I would have a puzzle break with my daughter napping, and just some, like, his name's Ludovico Einaudi. He's an Italian piano composer.
Okay.
And just zen.
Nice. One book or podcast that has influenced you the most?
Honestly, book or podcast. I'd also have to, The Good Place.
Okay.
Definitely put me on the path of philosophy. There's a philosophy podcast called Philosophize This. Honestly, some of the information I got about meth came from The Dollop. Have you ever heard of that podcast?
No, sir.
It is 2 comedians talking American history.
Okay.
And so they went, one of the first 10 episodes is about, I don't know if you heard about, it was a big thing in the early 2000s to have the wildest and craziest police chases.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was about a guy who got a tank in downtown San Diego.
Oh, wow.
And he did. And he just rolled around there. He was taking out buildings. He was taking out cars. He was he was in residential areas. I mean, he was having a blast.
Yeah.
This was meth.
Yeah.
This was like the mid-90s, and this guy is just wiped out of his mind on meth. He's mad that the city of San Diego wouldn't recognize his mining claim, like mine for like ore mining.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Like, he owned the house, he owned the land. You can mine it.
Yeah.
But he was mad they wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah.
And so he went to National Guard Armory and was able to get into a tank and get it started, and just started driving around.
Like
and
a whole video game playing out there.
It was, yeah. And so anyway, so if you listen to the podcast, I mean, they talk about the history of meth. They talk about it better
What is
than
it
I
again?
did. The Dollop.
The Dollop?
Yeah, DOLLOP. And
I'll have to listen
one
to it
of their first 10 episodes is about the guy in the tank. There's another one about Cassius Clay,
Okay.
not Cassius Clay Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Cassius Clay, the man he was named after. Holy cow, that guy was interesting.
Okay.
maybe not the most, like it didn't age well. Marrying a 14-year-old when you're 83 doesn't really age
Yeah,
well.
it's never gonna.
But for the time, it wasn't weird. Okay. Also, she was using this marriage to get out. Anyway, but like there was a good chance he would have been Abraham Lincoln's vice president.
Okay.
He was a big reason why Kentucky was not pro-slavery.
Okay.
He got into more like fights, and like one of the fights he got into, he killed like 6 guys in his 80s in his house who were trying to like ransack his house.
Okay.
Like just bonkers crazy what this guy was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was at Cassius Clay, and then the enslaved people that he freed,
Mm-hmm.
some of them took his name,
Yep.
including the woman who later named her son Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
So like he's the descendant of one of Cassius Clay's enslaved people. Like it's just bonkers crazy. Yeah, like it is worth listening to that one as well.
Okay. What advice would you give to young veterans transitioning out of the military?
Get your services. Okay. Do not think that, somebody else needs them more. Do not leave them on the table.
Yep.
Okay. There was a congressman who redecorated his offices in the style of Downton Abbey,
Mhm.
right? I don't know if you heard about this. He spent like taxpayer money to go to a Katy Perry concert.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds really
You
familiar.
not getting your services gave him that money.
Okay.
Okay. The money is going to be spent no matter what.
Yep.
And if you need it, and if you are messed up from the service, tinnitus, knees, whatever, make sure you take care, you go get that stuff, because for the rest of your life, you're going to have those problems.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not getting them looked at, if you're not getting them addressed, okay, one, it's going to become your cost. You're going to have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, honestly, like if the money's going to be spent anyway on Downton Abbey stuff, have it go to you. Have it go to your
Okay.
family.
Nice. If you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old Ben before joining the Marines, or I'll say 19-year-old Ben, what would you tell him?
I wouldn't say a word.
No?
Nope. I am a happy person.
Even if he asked you, like, what's the future like?
I would avoid him. Like if I
Would you avoid him?
like if I knew that, like if I knew that there was anything I could say that would mess up my future,
Okay.
because I mean that if I knew I was going to end up here no matter what, okay, maybe I'd have a different answer.
Okay.
But if there's any chance I could screw up 18-year-old Ben or 19-year-old Ben turning into me now, I wouldn't even meet with. I'd avoid him. I'd go somewhere else.
You're the first person that's ever said that. Out of all the interviews I've done, you're the first person. And that's really interesting. I kind of really like the answer a lot, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'd go tell him this," or "I'd go tell him that."
And that's the thing is,
But it's like you're kind of like, I did it, I owned it,
well, and I'm happy,
and I've lived it, and
I am happy now. Don't screw it up.
yeah.
Like, and so 41-year-old me, don't talk to him. Don't mess. You could mess something up. Don't. If I knew I would end up doing the exact same things, don't worry about it.
Nice.
You'll be okay.
All right. Last question of the show.
Okay.
What do you want people in Woodbury County to know about you that might not hear about they may not hear in your campaign speech? Sorry about that.
No problem. Honestly, I think that they have learned a lot about me on this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can think of much else. Thank you. Thank you very much to everyone who's watching this. Thank you, everyone who is paying attention, who is listening. I would love to hear your opinions. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you for giving me the time to talk to me. Thank you to all the people who have supported me. I mean, everyone from Rooted Boutique, who they gave me these, or didn't give me the clothes, but they definitely gave me a great deal on them. To this gentleman I met, his name's Dave, at Winnie's the other day. He gave me a great donation. Like, just thank you to everyone. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, I would love to tell you all of them. I don't think I'm hard to, I'm not really a closed book.
Yeah.
I'm actually the opposite, I think. So, yeah. So please ask me whatever, but thank you for your time.
And then last thing you want to promote to the people about the campaign. When is the campaign? Like I've asked, my barber asked me that question. He's like, cause he really liked you a lot too. That's one thing he's like, if he can fix the potholes, he gets my vote. So
if you want me to talk about the potholes are actually a city issue.
I know. It's like if you could change one thing, that's the one thing we would want.
And that's the thing is, but it does get back to like, well, if you make sure the potholes are good, if you've got a beater car, your beater car is going to last longer. Yeah. Your beater car lasts longer. You're able to make it to work longer without having to shell out money or have a flat or something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, but that's what was the rest of your question? I'm
sorry. Just like when's the campaign?
So I actually,
how can people find you too on top of it?
So my website is benforwoodbury.com. I am going to be on April 20th. There will be a kind of a chat with a lawyer symposium. If you look on my website, if you look on, I think we're not really keeping the website up to date when we're leaving that. And then Facebook, Mastodon, which is a social media that's kind of like Threads.
Okay.
Instagram, that information will be out there. Email me and I'll tell you all of the things I have coming up. April 20th is that. May 2nd, I will be at another Bitches Get Stuff Done event at Winnie's. I think I'm going to give a better version of my speech. And then I'll be at Sioux City Pride, I believe June 6th. I could be wrong on the date though. More information as things get closer. But yeah, come out to anything. Come talk to me. I'd love to talk to you. Appreciate your time.
Anything else for the people before we go?
Nope. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate you doing this. Really appreciate, you making your space available to me and talking to me. And
so you're gonna have to come back.
Heck yeah, let's do it tomorrow. Shoot, what do we got? Oh
yeah. Anything else you want to say to the people?
That's it. No, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, Ben Mulford, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Yep. Appreciate you.